Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream.
What's up?
I'm Ja.
I'm Peter.
So alright, how are you doing, Peter?
Good, thanks, you?
Yeah, me too. I mean, lately, with all the new graphics cards coming out, I was really up to a upgrading session.
Well, we had, was it 2 weeks? I think 2 weeks ago now, we had the great GPU battle. So it's like, the players are here now. It's both Navi and it's Super and everything that came before it. So, time to pick your winner.
Yeah. So why are we here today? Now today we're going to show you with, a lot of the models from our lineups, the most popular ones, and probably the ones that you also have, how to upgrade them. So if you want to upgrade anything inside the case, we're going to show you how to open it up, what screws to loosen up, and what part to take out, how can you upgrade your gaming desktop.
It's not just a marketing thing that we say it's easy to upgrade. Ja's going to show you how.
Exactly. I did all the hard work, so you guys don't have to.
He found all the ways that don't work first, and he's going to show you today the ways that do work.
I even got bruises. No, just kidding.
Prove it.
That's not from the gaming desktops. But
he fell off the stairs. Honest.
Yeah, honestly,
it's not domestic abuse.
Not if you guys do it. Not,
honestly,
no.
like PCs can sometimes be vicious on the inside, right? There's
very
sharp components in there.
Especially
if you slip like a finger and you just hit something, like, I'm bleeding. How did this happen?
Yep. And the next time, the PC goes out of the window.
It used to be worse than this, right?
Oh yeah, back in the days there were a lot more sharper things.
You had more exposed heat sinks, with all the fins and stuff.
Or our famous finger cutters.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, those were fun. But of course, like always, we also have giveaway because today you probably already know if we have time, we're going to play Wolfenstein, Youngblood, which was, I believe, just released yesterday or a few days before.
A couple of days ago, yeah.
Yeah. So if we have time, we're going to get to the dual gameplay. But if we don't blame us because, who knows, how cozy it gets.
But that doesn't change the fact that we're giving away a couple of game codes.
Exactly.
Today.
So go to msi.com/2/insider and perform a few actions. And the more you perform, the more chance that you have at winning. If you don't win at the first try, don't give up because there are more keys to be given away.
You don't have to reapply after you apply to the giveaway. So if you do it once, you're in for the whole stream. Don't worry about it. And we'll draw a couple of winners as the stream goes on. I'll post a direct link into the chat for you guys so you can participate.
So if this doesn't work, link right here. Just go to the link that Peter is posting in the chat right now.
Yes.
And wish you guys a lot of luck. And besides that, if you're looking into upgrading, upgrading your graphics card or buying new pre-builds or laptops, we actually have a bundle right now, right, with NVIDIA?
That's correct, yeah. I mean, there's an NVIDIA bundle with this game and with also the game Control.
Yeah, also a very cool game. I watched the trailer, I haven't played it yet, but it looked very cool, the context.
Yeah.
So, if you purchase any RTX 20 series graphics card or a laptop or gaming desktop with it in it, you will get these two games for free.
Both of them.
Exactly. So, good luck if you're doing any upgrade, and let's get started.
It's a nice couple of games to get you started then.
Yep. So I may have already spoiled it a bit, regarding, why are we upgrading nowadays? Because for me, I was getting really excited, looking at, there's new Navi gaming cards, there's new graphics card from NVIDIA too, and, not too long ago, there was the new 16 series.
Yeah.
And,
there are people who will say, if you buy X brand, like, an MSI desktop, you never have to upgrade because it's so good. You just never, that's obviously a lie, right?
Yep. Can't believe those kind
to
of
be
lies.
fair, if you buy a PC now, which has like the highest CPU and the highest GPU, and you don't, you don't want like 4K or multiple 4K setup, it's probably going to be okay for like a year or two or more. I mean,
of course.
Depending.
Also depends on, what are you satisfied with.
Yeah.
For example, I used a setup for like 2-3 years. And after that, I was really like, also because I love hardware, I was really getting into, my fingers are getting itchy. I need to upgrade my PC,
Yeah.
Look up some new stuff. So, there are a lot of reasons why people want to upgrade. They can be, hey, there are new games coming out. For example, this one right here, it just came out. And if your hardware is lagging behind, and there are other games that you want to play, they're more, graphics card intensive or speed intensive, so to speak. Well, you want to upgrade to play that game. Well, I had those kind of situations. Well, I didn't spend a fortune to play just 1-2 games, but I still had to upgrade. So I'm not sure about you, Peter. Did you have this kind of experiences?
Long time ago that I built my first PC myself, or at least, and before that I had someone build it with the specifications that I chose. But yeah, it wasn't that long that I figured out, okay, so I need, even back then it was upgrading your graphics card was the biggest difference. And after that it was pretty much, both the CPU, the memory, and the storage devices. But graphics cards traditionally are one of the biggest things you want to upgrade, because the rest of the PC, if you have like a 4-year-old PC, it should still run most games pretty okay. If it was a relatively high spec back then.
Yeah, and I think also on the graphics card area, there are also more exciting developments, right? Like DirectX 12 and other developments, which is compared to CPUs much more. Because if you have a capable CPU, it can go for quite a few years instead of having the same GPU, which can become a bottleneck in the future.
Well, I mean, the GPU, newer games, a lot of them will use new techniques or have, higher demands of the games, of the graphics. And so generationally, you will see that the graphics cards actually make much bigger jumps than the CPUs the past couple of years. So that's also the biggest difference, that the graphics card performance has gone up considerably, whereas the CPU performance has, it's basically... It's improved in efficiency, definitely, but it's not quite as big a steps as graphics cards. It's mostly adding more cores. So that's great for, if you're doing a lot of things at the same time, or you have applications that can actually use all of those cores. But for most games, it's not that big of a jump, right?
Yep. And guys, believe me when I say, because Peter is our graphics card wizard, so... Mark his word.
Magic, guys.
Yeah. So, besides new games that you really want to upgrade for, there are also development in hardware, because screens are getting bigger, the higher resolutions and the bigger sizes. And for that, if you want to keep up, you also will, especially if your hardware is like a few years old already or even more. If you want to keep up with that, especially on better qualities, which I'm going to show you later in some statistics to show you the correlations, that might also be the reason that you want to upgrade.
You need the horsepower to push them frames.
Exactly. And besides that, there's also going to be stuff like, okay, you're really like a fanatic at collecting games. Whenever, I know a few people in my friends' network. There are a few of them that are just hooked up to Steam. They have like the Steam, how they call, like the monthly subscription running. They get new games which they don't even look at or play.
Or you mean the Humble Bundle?
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just keep getting those kind of new games. Well, those kind of new games also require space. So there can be more than just the graphics card or your monitor getting bigger or resolution. They can also be just simply if you need more space, you also like to open up your computer to hook up more space instead of just hooking up like an external SATA, which is slow as hell. So you want to get into your desktop to get in a new hard disk, new SSD, M.2, you name it.
Maybe just some more space for more games, whatever. I see some guys, by the way, complaining or asking and saying, hey, can you post the giveaway link? I actually did, but it can be that maybe the program we're using as a chat relay is not posting it on YouTube. So if I duck away here, it's basically to try and find a solution to give you the link on YouTube.
So Peter is trying to make your life more beneficial at this moment. So I'll just blab on while Peter's busy with doing that kind of stuff.
I don't want you guys to miss out on a chance to win the game, guys. So
like I said, quite a few reasons why you want to upgrade your current desktop, and especially if you have one of our desktops. I'm gonna show you, with all the models how to do it. And if you're planning to purchase maybe one of the models, then you already know how to do it when you have it. So, and actually, before getting to that, I want to give you like an overview of, this is gaming, right? We're talking about gaming, and what kind of gaming performances can you expect, especially if you're new at this kind of fields. I actually have like a few slides.
You want to go through them?
Yeah, in which I have, well, not me, I didn't put the slides together. Well, I did put the slides together, but the graphs that you see, they're actually from hardware.info.
Yes.
So this graph actually indicates an average of, there are like plenty of games that were taken into consideration here. I believe like 30, give or take. And this is like an average FPS that came out of the test. So, when talking about all the gaming performances and stuff like that and upgrading, and this is also a graph that will show you, okay, if you're planning on upgrading in the future, then you can take a look at, okay, what kind of performance do you actually want? And then we can also tell you, okay, what's really best for this kind of performances. Well, for 1080p, if you're still on 1080p in medium settings, nothing exciting there. Well, you can get around with a 1050, close to 60, but not 60 yet, because 60 is the golden standard for at least a smooth gaming experience. So prefer you want to go up from there.
Yeah.
But of course, medium settings, it's not really that you would enjoy, right? At least I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about those ultra settings, right? You want to get that full eye candy. You want to, see the game and its full splendor.
Exactly.
Let's just face it. That's what we all want.
Yeah, you want to be more immersed with the game, and it's not going to work when the pixels are staring you right in the face, like, So yeah, like Peter, you will want to go to ultra, and that 1080p ultra setting is still not like the end of the world. It's still doable, but you can see that you're already moving up in GPU class. So 1060, so 3 GB, that's still close to 60, but still not 60. So again, here you would like to go above it. So like 6 GB version of 1060, and if you have like something like an RTX 2060 for 1080p Ultra, you are already getting well above, just above 100 FPS. So,
and guys, this is average, right? So it really depends on the game. So there are some really GPU intensive games in this comparison included. I think this is I don't know if you already
titles
explained, but
this is
I
told them,
an index, an average. And so some games, when you put them on ultra, they put some ridiculous effects on which really impact performance.
So again,
if you want to look at specific games, it's always worth it to look at those games and how they perform on different GPUs, because you might find a very different FPS average.
Exactly. So this is just to give you an idea of what an average might look like. So especially nowadays with the internet so open, it's great to just look up specific game benchmarks, because there are plenty of them out there. So if you're interested in each new game, title,
I think a lot of media, they will perform a whole bunch of tests with different graphics cards just to show you how does it perform and which graphics card is the sweet spot for which resolutions.
And then you'll visit their site and they're happy and you're happy.
Oh, so you get the info, exactly. And you know what to expect, so yeah, it's good.
And of course, we keep track of the chat, so if you guys have any questions, just post them in the chat. And apology if you don't get the answer yet, because, if you...
It's quite busy in the chat, and then it's going quite fast. There is Corsair RAM on the MSI stream. Yeah! We have it there actually quite a lot. I mean, we work together with Corsair quite a lot.
Quite a few samples from them,
And so
good that you actually noticed this. I wasn't sure you could read it, but
I'm surprised that it's such wow. Do we have Corsair? Yeah, we have it in a lot of streams actually. So
this is just the part to make the setup look a bit more filled up, because the desk is mostly empty.
Well, and these are some of the stuff that we want to upgrade the system.
Exactly.
With,
So. All right, more questions that we might have missed. If not, well, all right, let's go to the next one. So we talked about 1080p, and 1440p is, of course, where the golden standard for 1080p was really sitting and heading towards to. So 1440p is becoming like the new standard. Also coupled with 27 inches, and we had like a dedicated live stream about this with all the information specifics about this, I think a few months ago. But the point is that back in the days when it was 24, 25 inches coupled with 1080p, it was the golden standard. But nowadays, with stuff getting more beefier, the graphics card, they can handle more, they can push out more frames. And the screens are getting bigger. People prefer to have bigger resolutions. Now 1440p with 27 inches is really becoming a new sweet spot. So if you are also if you want to ride with a wave, and 1440p is what you're looking at right now, medium settings, what can you expect? Again, average from like 30 games. Well, 570 with 4 GB, you can achieve like 75 frames. But again, if you're satisfied with 75 frames or medium settings at 1440p, same with 1080p. For me, when you're getting more resolutions, you want to enjoy more details. But if you then go for medium, well, you might not mind, but some might mind. Well, I don't. Well, I do mind. Well, it's really like a tongue twister.
Wow.
Yeah. So
try to tell it simple, in a simple way, as simple as possible.
Yeah. So go for ultra setting.
Yeah.
Because if you're going for 1440p anyways, why not enjoy more details? So ultra settings. Well. Here you can have kind of like a different image from medium settings. So, well, with a Vega, well, 56, you can have like around 70. And 1070, you can have like 60, 65, just well above 60, the golden standard for smooth gaming. Well, you see that you already moved in class a bit. So ideally, of course, you want to achieve even higher frames because a lot of people are getting more and more 144 hertz screens. So if you have those kind of monitors, you'll really like to enjoy the smooth gaming experience. So you want to achieve as high, well, as many FPS as possible. And well, you are gonna need upgrade for that. Well, if you don't mind, then of course you don't have to, but if you do, well, so what I just told you about 144 hertz. So if you want to achieve these kind of performances at medium settings, you would like to go to a 2070. Of course, I understand that not everybody needs it, but I mean, for those of you who want to have it, this is the kind of idea that you can, well, we're trying to give you. Okay, if you want that kind of performance and that kind of result, 2070 for medium settings, and well, ultra settings 1440p, that's a bit more difficult. But still, every FPS that you get out of it is benefit for you.
It's nice. Yeah. I see some questions, by the way. Deck specs very sharp. Why is Navi missing from the list? Because it's a little bit of an old list. We checked, and these are still missing. Also, we cannot. Ja had to choose, so he also made. He chose some older models because you want to compare like the 10 series. We're basically making a situation here where if you bought a system, I don't know, like 3-4 years ago, and right now you're kind of looking like, well, in the newer games, it's not getting quite the FPS I wanted to, or maybe you upgraded to a higher resolution monitor. And so we're kind of, making a scenario like, what are you looking at if you want to compare a 10 series, for example, or an RX 570, 580, like a little bit older cards to the more recent cards. And Navi is not included there, but I mean, you kind of know which performance levels they will be at. I mean, the 5700 will be at around the 2060, just above the 2060 level of performance. And the 5700 XT, of course, will be just around or above the RX 2070. Notice, by the way, that the supers are also not included in this one. So
yeah. But later, actually, we have another benchmark for the game. There, I did put in some new graphics card for those of you who are just curious about the game performance. But this is really just like Peter said, to give you an idea for those of you, because this is meant for upgrading, right? So for people that are actually need to upgrade, so generally
you want to compare the older products to some of the newer ones. So the newer ones in there are there just basically for reference. Also, Mark Neumeier, same question basically. Where is the 1660 or the whole 16 series? We can't include all of them because then the list will get so big you can't read anything. So you kind of know where the performance is if you know the product.
So yeah, that's for 1440p. But of course, for those of you wondering, okay, what about 4K? Well, of course, there is 4K, but 4K is just like on a whole different level. Yeah. So I don't have to say too much about 4K performances because you can imagine it's just really heavy at this moment to perform at 4K. So medium settings, you already, if you want to have a smooth gaming experience, at least a 1070, and this is like medium. And if you go for ultra, well,
you want minimum of 60 FPS, you're looking at a 2080 Super or above.
So 4K, it's not that interesting yet because the sweet spot is at 1440p again with 27 inches. So I hope, we gave you a good idea regarding, okay, where is your video card sitting right now and what might you need if you want to upgrade and what kind of performances do require what kind of hardware. So that's it for the boring slides part for now. And
you got to create some kind of image, right? to give everybody some kind of idea, like what are we talking about, and why do people even upgrade? This is, for most of you, this might be like something. Yeah, of course you upgrade. It's normal. You've all done it before. But I bet there's a lot of people also watching who basically, if you buy especially if you buy a full system like a pre-assembled desktop, you might not be comfortable or have the right knowledge to build your own PC or even upgrade it. So this stream is actually more for the people who started out just buying a whole system because it was easier, and then you save the hassle of having to build it and stuff like that. But in the end, they still come across something where they think, well, I heard it's quite easy to upgrade these days. And MSI, one of the things that they promoted was like it's actually easy to upgrade these systems. So then once they get to that point, they're still wondering like, how do you do that? that's who this stream is really for. So we're going to show you for at least a couple of the models we have right now in the studio as well. And Jao is going to show you how to do that per model.
Exactly.
Because it's different per model, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So building up on what you said, well, we don't need slides anymore. But
no, yeah.
So
let's get rid of the slides.
We all gotta start somewhere, right? Some people start with pre-builds, and some really just start hardcore, diving into all the components. But for those who are familiar with pre-builds, I think we all know this kind of familiar idea of having the pre-build, and then you're like, I feel like I need to upgrade my pre-build now. But then you look at the backside of your pre-build, there's like this little sticker saying warranty voided when opened.
Yes.
So that's a big disencouragement of trying to upgrade your gaming desktop. Or
a lot of people were sitting there with a screwdriver ready to open it up, and they had the sweat coming down. Like, should I do it or should I risk it? Should I risk it? Well, exactly. For MSI, it's quite easy, right? What is our policy on this?
Well, we actually encourage people to upgrade, so you won't find that sticker on our desktop because we encourage you to open it up, explore, and also we're not afraid you're gonna mess up stuff because we put it very easily in their places.
I mean, don't underestimate people's ability to
never
screw things up. I mean, here's the thing: if you're not comfortable doing it, by all means, don't do it. But I mean, a stream like this, and there's I think also a couple of videos that outline it on YouTube, right? So, like video tutorials that show you step by step how to do this. So, but again, if you don't feel comfortable doing the upgrade, please, just either ask somebody else who does it. There's probably plenty of people around who will be able to do it for you or help you do it. But once you know how to do it, it's actually quite
really
easy and also quite a useful skill, because then you might be that friend in the group that be able to say, "Oh, your PC is slow. Sure, I'll help you out. No problem. I'll just upgrade it for you."
Generally, from experience, that's not a good experience.
Yeah, you don't want to let people know.
Your entire family is going to come to you like, "Hey, my
you know
PC
about computers, right?
You're that guy.
Take a look at my phone. It's not the same thing. Well, it's a computer, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
You get that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So besides the sticker, in other kinds of pre-builds, there's also the kind of problem that some components, being very tightly put away, so you can really reach it easily, at least.
They weren't designed with upgradability in mind or accessibility. So especially with custom designs, you'll find this a lot, right? Where a lot of the components are actually so tucked away somewhere that you can't really get to them because they're like covered by something.
So before you even start, you're already given up, and that's I think more or less the point there.
Some of the products I've seen throughout the years are actually, funnily enough, probably designed to discourage people to do anything like upgrading. Indeed,
and of course that's kind of hard to watch from our perspective. So that's why our desktops are, for one, they're easy to upgrade, and that's also something that we try to communicate with people, that don't be afraid to open it up. You can easily upgrade the components in there. And also, especially for those of you getting into pre-builds, or if you're a console player, you're getting into desktops, and then you can just slowly learn,
step by step.
It's not that scary to upgrade components. And that's kind of the idea that we have here, and we're trying to communicate to you guys. We encourage you, and it's easy. And that's why I'm going to show you, at least I'm going to try to show you how to do it. And while doing all this and that, of course, it's not all butterflies and rainbow.
Unicorns.
Exactly. You still gotta, I'm not saying that people don't think, but sometimes you just think that it's so easy they don't really think about it. So of course you got to do some homework regarding, if you want to upgrade your PC, what kind of specification does your PC have? What's the PSU? How much wattage does it have? How long is your case? How wide? How deep? And then you can compare it to the video cards, because you might want to do a video card upgrade, but if it's too big, it doesn't fit in your case. I think we have personal experiences with this, right?
I think I've said this before on the stream, and I'm actually, I was disappointed, not really ashamed to mention it, but even me, I've been in hardware for a long, long time, and I got so excited when the 2080 Ti Lightning got in.
Exactly.
I took the sample home for the weekend because I thought, I need to test it, of course, for science. I just wanted to play games. Let's just be honest, and try some overclocking, obviously. Anyway, I got home, and I already had my other graphics card ripped out, and was ready to put the bad boy in. And then I realized that the case, I was using a relatively old case, and the card was actually, the length was too long. It didn't fit.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, I think we all
It happens.
had this kind of experiences. Sometimes you just overlook stuff or didn't think about it. So what we're trying to say here is that when you do want to upgrade a specific component or a lot of them, you got to do some homework at least regarding, okay, will it work or will it fit? Do you have the right connections for it? So if you're upgrading a graphics card and it requires 3 8-pins or 2 8-pins, and you only have, for example, 2 6-pins or 2 8-pins, well, it's not going to work.
It's also one of the differences between pre-built or pre-assembled systems and like a system that you assemble yourself. Most of the systems that you assemble yourself, you will also choose like a power supply or PSU, which is short for power supply unit. And most of them will be what we call modular, which means that you can actually attach new power connectors if needed. So if your graphics card requires more power connectors than your current one, you can basically just put one extra in and then connect it. There you go. But especially a lot of the pre-built systems, they will have a fixed, a non-modular power supply unit, which means that the connectors that are in there are the ones you have to make do with. You can't connect any extra ones. And so for those, it's really important to check, okay, which ones do I have? And that kind of shows you what, the possibilities that you have as well. Yeah,
sometimes you're more flexible than other times. And now I'm going to show you, okay, just what kind of flexibilities do you have here?
Yeah, just some examples at least, because it differs per, even per SKU or, the different
per
units.
model or units. Yeah. So I hope that we can show you, or at least give you a great idea, of how the variations can be and where can you find what in what kind of models.
Yes.
So I'm just going to put a few models on the table that we have for you today for you to have an overview. Okay, what can you expect?
Bring it on, Jack.
First one, it's really heavy.
Bring it on.
I have a really bad back, so I got to be careful.
You have a bad back.
Yes.
You've been lifting too much.
No, not really. I wish. So let's start with, this is our Infinite X. And you can see it's like mid-tower sized gaming desktop.
It's like the thing, when you say a gaming PC, this is the type of size that you generally think about, right?
Yeah. And there's, of course...
This is your typical form factor PC.
Yeah, mid-tower. And we also have other sizes. This one is the Trident X from our Trident lineup. I think you're more familiar with this one because you see this a lot more in media and stuff like that.
And if you watch our streams, you will also have seen this. Linus did a really nice video on this one as well, I believe.
Where I think he had like this big ass Lucky, right?
Yeah.
In his studio.
I think wasn't that later? Anyway.
Maybe later, yeah.
He loved it, and rightly so. It's a beast. And he didn't drop it. So that's always good.
It's not something you want to drop this guy.
No.
We have more because this is our Infinite lineup, and this is from our Trident lineup, and we also have...
And this is the king of the Tridents, basically, right? This is like the big Trident.
Because... really like the big daddy.
Yeah, exactly. The daddy Trident.
With all the gaming performance that you want inside it.
And here we have, this is the original Trident, right? The first
this is the
design,
OG. Yeah, the OG,
Exactly.
So this is the Trident 3, and this already comes in a few generations, like Peter already mentioned. So like there's like the 7th gen, 8th, referring to Intel's GPU of CPU generations, and also 9th. So,
but the design itself is just solid and it's really good. So basically, it just keeps getting updated with the latest hardware so that you get the best performance.
So you can see like my hand is here, and you can compare the size to it with my hand. Like I'm touching it, so it's like about half the size. So even though this is such a small form factor gaming desktop, there's still like a RTX 2060 in there.
Yeah.
So
up to
size
2060, right?
Exactly, up to. So size doesn't always matter. Well, of course, if you want the best of the best, you go to Trident X, because here you can go up to all the way to i9 9900K with 2080 Ti.
Yeah. So that's like the highest you can pretty much get.
And the difference between these two, for example, outside, besides the aesthetics, is that, for example, here, even though it's still a small form factor PC, you still have a full-size GPU graphics card, GPU graphics card, however you want to call it, a full-size. And here you actually have like an ITX-sized. So for those of you who are not familiar, ITX is a different kind of form factor than ATX or full-sized. So here you will see later, it's a lot smaller than full-sized.
Because we're gonna open. Well, Ja is gonna open all of these up, so
and then
you
you
will
can
see
also
later
see
on.
the difference.
Exactly.
And that's also why it's important to keep in mind, okay, the upgrade you're gonna do, what's the size? Is it gonna fit? But that's also I'm gonna show you later.
Exactly.
And something else, before the difference is that, for example, here, there is no PSU or power supply in it. Well, this one works with a power brick, like an adapter. And in
Kind of
here,
like a notebook, I guess. They also have those.
same idea.
Yeah. But
And
it's an external power supply, basically. That's it.
And here you also have an internal one, all packed up inside this. So that's why this one is really like the highest of the highest in the Trident, hence the Big Daddy. You know.
And everything's inside. There's only a cable sticking out for your power and your peripherals and stuff like that. Whereas for this one, you also need to take care of the power brick. So, but it's not that big. But it's a small difference.
So that's for the Trident. Like going back to our Infinite lineup, this is, like I said, generally our normal sized, tower sized gaming desktop. So mid towers. But if you're really like a big fan of the Infinite lineup, there's also one model, the Infinite S. I guess you can guess what the S stands for, right?
Speed.
Oh,
yes, it's actually small, probably.
Yeah. So there's also the Infinite S. Well, you can see there's quite a difference between these two. So this one actually has the same volume as this. So it has the same volume, but just molded differently.
Different shape,
yeah, different shape. But this one does have its own
power supply.
Exactly. And also there's a full-sized graphics card in there, so not an ITX size, but also full size. So in a way, it's really just like a shaped down desktop in the Infinite lineup.
Yeah.
If we compare it to like the Infinite X or Infinite A or the Infinite.
Yeah.
But all right, so the Infinite in general, you should remember this lineup by remembering, okay, the Infinite is actually for people that just want the best of the best and also enjoy overclocking abilities, because in the Infinite X, for example, there's also our own custom water cooling solution.
Yeah.
So here you have the size, you have the most flexibility, and you also have the most flexibility in upgrading, also in performance. So for example, the water cooling part. And if you want the same performance, but you don't want the size, or because this one is obviously smaller, but in this you cannot expect a 2080 Ti with i9 9900K, right? So that's why you go to the Trident, which is smaller in size, but you still have in the Trident X the highest gaming performance, well, as for this moment.
Yeah, the highest possible spec.
Yeah, so that's the main difference between the Trident and the Infinite. And I think we should get into why we're all here, is that I'm going to finally show you how to upgrade, to start with the Infinite X.
But, okay. Let's just make it clear for everybody that the ones that we have here is not with the highest spec, because,
not every model.
It's pointless to upgrade the highest current spec, right? I mean,
exactly.
There's nothing to upgrade to. So just to be clear, we actually chose models and where needed, perhaps even modified them to like downgrade them.
Yeah.
Nerf them, if you will, so that we actually have a reason to upgrade. So we're not going to show you how they perform pre-upgrade and after, because then we'd be here for like the better part of the whole night.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why also we had those kind of statistics and benchmark later.
So take it from us, basically. It's these PCs are using just imagine basically they are using an older hardware generation.
In some cases it's true, because this one is
some of them actually do. Yeah, exactly. And then so basically the question is, when you get to the question, or when you've decided, okay, I want to upgrade this thing. Okay, so then basically what Ja's going to cover is per all of these models, how do you do it, but also what can you upgrade? Because for each of these, it might be slightly different. Some of those you might be able to swap out or change more things than others. But Ja is going to show you every option basically for every model. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you have any
I'm trying to go through the chat.
If you have any specific questions for at least these models here, let us know. Then we can actually show you. We've not included all models, down to when we first started to make all these, because we want to focus on the ones that we actually are currently actively selling, I would say, right?
Yeah, that's... you know, there's also the Aegis lineup, but that's already kind of more or less out of the picture. But you can still find a lot of materials online if you're interested in that one. So now we're just going to focus on this one. While I put this down, Peter can maybe go through the chat and maybe...
Yeah, I see, because I see some people addressing a hot topic, which is
let me guess, Tomahawk?
Yeah, the AMD 400 and 300 boards, especially the Tomahawk, which a lot of people reported having some issues when upgrading or updating the BIOS, I should say, to be compatible with AMD Ryzen 3000 CPUs. We are aware of this. I believe that updates are being pushed out every day. I think now we are up to the 1A or 1A1, something like that, BIOS version. So there is a blog article that's actually being updated and maintained as we go. So we are monitoring the issues that are there, and our tech guys are working around the clock basically to try and find the best solution for it, implement it into a new BIOS version for you guys, and then put it out so that you guys can test it. Most of the times they will try, not to just put it out without testing it, so they want to verify it as much as possible so that it doesn't cause other problems. You fix one thing, you break another. You don't want that. So these guys are, trust me, really working their asses off to try and get you the solution.
It really takes time.
Yeah. But so basically, if you want to keep track of this, there's a blog article that keeps getting updated as there's news to be posted. And when there are new BIOS versions to be released or tried, they will be posted there. I don't have the direct link. Maybe I'll try and find it for you guys later so I can post a link in the chat for you guys who are looking for that. Because I can already see ISOP saying, is there, in any one of those PCs, is there a B450 Tomahawk? Because if there is, it's going to be a long night. Yeah, so we know. So yeah, I'll see if I can post a link for you guys, or maybe one of my colleagues, if they're watching, they can post a link as well. Or if any of you guys already know the blog article that I'm talking about, please share the link in the chat for your fellow viewers. Because a lot of people have already reported that the latest BIOS that has been pushed out, I think the 1A1, if I'm correct, that one actually fixed a lot of the issues already for a lot of people. So it's well worth taking a look at it and trying it out if you are having these problems.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps, right?
Yeah. So we know how big of a topic this is.
Yeah.
And all right. So where were we? All right. So I just took the tempered glass off, with 4 simple thumb screws. Don't need anything yet for this part. And this is the inside.
Do you want to get maybe a close-up view? Do you think it's good?
So like I said, this is the mid-tower sized gaming desktop. So here you have the most flexibility, obviously. And something that really jumps to your mind as to, hey, what is that? Is this thing, of course, right? Well, in all of our gaming desktop, we actually have this feature to have the most optimized heat dispersion. So with this kind of separations, we create different chambers for the CPU, the GPU, and even the PSU or the power supply all the way down here. So this, if you're wondering what it is, this one, that's the separating or divider between the chambers. All right, so when you look at this, you also see the water cooling that I mentioned before. Well, what can you upgrade, right? So you can see here, you have the memory slot. So
there's only one filled right now.
Yeah, so we can make this a dual channel. I'm going to show you how. Of course, you can also upgrade the GPU right here. And this is the 2070 Armor right now. And it can go higher. And well, if you are more into storage, there's also, once I took this out, I can show you, okay, how can you upgrade for example, M.2, or put in an extra M.2. Yeah. And also you can upgrade SATA drives or a 3.5 or 2.5 inches, which is on the back side. I'm going to show you later.
Regular old technology, basically.
Still being used, right? Yeah. So for those of you who are still using that, you still have the opportunity to do that here. Yeah. And well, Peter, where shall we start? The favorite part for gaming?
Just start with my favorite part, I would say.
The graphics card.
I think also the most common part people will upgrade, if anything, in a PC like this.
Like you already...
because the rest of the spec, I mean, what's inside there? Is it an i7 or i5?
Yeah. This one is actually the i7 part. There's no, the Infinite X is no i5, so with the i7 9700K, right, you can go for like sweet few years ahead.
That
Definitely
should be
no
fine.
problem. Yeah, And if you want to upgrade the GPU,
Yep.
well, you first have to take out 2 screws to loosen up the divider.
Yeah.
Because the divider is actually blocking.
Helps to hold
vertically
it in
integrate.
place.
Exactly.
Basically.
So there's 1 screw right here.
Let's see if I can.
Yeah.
There you go.
You just take that one out. And again, guys, a tip whenever you're doing upgrading part, because this was the biggest headache I always had, look for a screwdriver that has a magnetic top.
And especially if you're jaw, make sure you have like a cup or whatever, or a little bowl that you save your screws in, because if you drop them and they roll off, they're gone. They're really small, they're dark.
It's really a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Jaw is known for having these issues.
Actually, I lost a few screws like right before the stream.
Scream?
Stream.
You did scream, yeah.
Yes. So this is the second part of the screws that you have to take out.
Right. Living the meme.
I can't really see it from here.
Oh,
so
yeah, you have
okay.
you can maybe you can. I was gonna say maybe you can either turn the PC a bit more towards me. Might be easier to reach.
Yeah. So that goes the second part.
Yep.
And now let me just get it back into position.
Okay.
So now you can actually move this like in and out.
Because there's like on either side there's like a small bracket that holds it in place, right? Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. So this bracket will take care of the sliding.
Yeah. And on that side there's one as well.
Yeah. But before you can take this out, you can already know, okay, hey, it doesn't come out. That's because, well, there's a vertically integrated graphics card in here, which means there needs to be an extension card, or how should I call this, like cord with a card that will go to your original PCIe slot.
Yeah. So this is the PCIe extender ribbon cable.
Yeah. So you need to take this out, and before you rip it off, always remember that when you're trying to take out anything out of the PCIe slot, always press the little clicker.
There's a latch there that you need to release it.
Push it down, and then you can safely take it out.
Gently, by the way, guys.
Very gentle.
I know we've reinforced our PCIe slots, but that does not mean that you need to test your strength.
Exactly. And for those of you wondering, okay, why is this card standing like this and not just traditionally horizontally? And this is because, for one, you can enjoy the aesthetics of the graphics card because they're getting sexier and hotter every year. But also,
hopefully not hotter.
Well,
I know what you mean.
You have a dirty mind, Peter.
No. I mean, hotter as in a hot graphics card is not a good thing.
No, they're getting cooler in that sense.
Exactly.
But also, when you move around, this is going to provide a lot more stability because graphics card getting beefier and heavier, bigger. And when they're standing horizontally, they can bend or even break the PCIe slot. So this way, you can have the best of both.
Well, to be honest, even if they're mounted horizontally, I should say, like normally directly into the motherboard, if you fix everything in a normal way, it shouldn't bend or break or damage anything. But the biggest situation where stuff like this happens is during transport, when people throw this case around, or you're in a car and you have an unexpected bump, and that's what it's not really designed for. So that's where damage could be sustained. And that's why we reinforced all the slots and make sure that the graphics card is also very rigid, so nothing can happen.
So
in the meantime,
while we were talking,
exactly,
you can see there's like a
little slot.
Yeah, this is because the extension cable is going through here, so you have to take this out first.
Yes.
And then you can take the entire thing
then
out of the case, and then you have a free roaming of upgrading everything. So like I said, now I can show you how you can upgrade the M.2 also. So if you take a look inside the case, you can already see one.
Maybe just move the ribbon cable a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
Just
let me put this down.
There we go.
You can already see there's one installed right here.
Yep.
But you also have an extra space, which is here.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is then, normally this, well, we already took it off, but there's a screw on here. So you have to unscrew it and then just push the card right in the slot and then push it down, screw it.
Yeah, you can see on the M.2 that's already in place. You can see at the end of it, there's also a screw to hold it in place. It's the same thing.
This screw is what we're talking about right here. Yeah. So this is probably the easiest thing to ever do.
Yeah. And the nice thing about this build as well is, as you can see, basically, let's see there. This actually is using a basically a regular motherboard, as in it's a motherboard you can also buy separately. So that means that there's also a lot of information available about it. It's not like this mystical, magical motherboard that nobody has any information about. This is a well-known MSI motherboard for which you can find the features and also how to do all the connectors and stuff like that. There's a lot of information you can find about it.
This is like a little bit more customized. This is supposed to be the mortar version, but mainly, all the components are still looking the same in the features.
Yes.
So this can have maybe like a bit different heatsink than the original mortar. Yes. But so upgrading the M.2 is very easy. Now, if we also talk about what I showed you before, the memory, here we have like one memory card in there, so it's 16 gigabyte. But if you want to have even more speed and better performance, you can upgrade this to a dual channel memory.
Yeah.
So then it's also very simple. You just have to make sure you click both sides of the slot in which the card is sitting right now. Sometimes it's both sides, but with more newer models, they are slowly coming with one side only. So you just have to click on the upper side. But you have to look at what kind of motherboard you have. Take it out. Well, it's actually green, but
so the chroma key is having a field day with this.
Yeah. So now you have 3 slots. Now we have the memory right here. So I'm just gonna take the memory out. The new ones
before you do this,
there.
guys, you always have to check, per motherboard, per build, what is compatible memory in terms of the memory type. If you have a really old product, it might even be that it's not compatible with DDR4 memory, but I mean, that's a couple of years ago. With relatively new motherboards, like 4 or 5 years old, you should be fine with any DDR4. Well, not any, but you need to check the speeds, because there's a difference there. Some motherboards, well, you might be able to run higher, or you might be able to get it to work, but it won't work at the highest rated speeds, for example. So make sure you take the right speed for your platform. It's just a little tip. That's part of what John mentioned earlier. It's like, do your homework a little bit when you check which products you want to upgrade with.
And it's very easy to check your motherboard. You just have to look it up from where you bought it from, or on the website you can see all the compatibilities with RAMs.
Yeah.
So I took out 2 from the boxes, and you got to make sure that you align them properly, because if you look closely, you can see that they're being divided by this little part. And they're not equal in length. And this is the same, of course, on the slot. So you're going to make sure you align them properly and not just jam it down while it's sitting, wrongly. And just
it only fits one way. Let's just put it that way. So if it's not going in, it's not a case of push harder. It's a case of check if you actually did it the wrong way around. Then maybe, it's like USB, I guess. If it's not going in, try it the other way around.
Don't use brute force with upgrading your gaming desktops, because that can be very expensive.
Exactly.
And the second thing that you have to be mindful of is that when you're using 2, which is optimal or just recommended, you can have the benefit of dual channel.
Yes.
You have to look at difference
per motherboard. Maybe we can zoom in, because there's actually something on the motherboard here. Indeed, I think we also showed it in a stream long ago. But on the motherboards, there's like a little print which shows you which slots you should use. So in this case, you might be thinking, okay, let's just jam it in the first 2 slots that are here. And actually on X570 boards, that works because they use a different layout and a different technology, basically daisy chaining instead of T-topology. But this actually, for this one, you need to use, if you have the first 2 kits, so the first 2 RAM modules, you need to use the second slot, which Jaa is pointing at right now, and the last slot. So yes,
it's hard to see.
So you need to skip the first and the third slot, basically.
Yeah. So let me just show you by putting them in right now. So like Peter already mentioned, in this case, we got to use the second one, which is this. You have to click until you hear that the slot or the clipper, or how they call that thing, is being clicked.
The latches on both sides. Yeah.
So then that's it, and then you just use the second one, do the same, make sure that you push down the latches first.
Yep, open the slot up.
Align them properly.
Make sure there's no cables in place, in the way. I saw one of the, there was a cable close to it.
Yeah, so make sure that's out of the way.
There you go.
Click, click, you hear the click, click, and voila, you're done.
That's one upgraded memory.
Exactly, it's easy as that. You just have to take into account, okay, what do you have to think about? So,
and this is the hardware part, guys. So after doing this and you boot the PC, it's usually well worth going into the BIOS and, for example, enabling XMP, which is the optimized profile for speeds for memory. So
yeah, nowadays it's being made very easy.
Exactly, but it's something that we do want to mention because a lot of people will just put the RAM modules in, turn the PC on, and they still notice that the memory is not really functioning at its highest speeds. It's usually because the XMP profile, for example, is not it's not activated.
Yep. So that's for memory. And actually, if you want to upgrade the entire PC, you have the flexibility to do so. Just unscrew the water cooler. You can replace the CPU. Always make sure it's compatible with your power supply, with your motherboard. So you can do that. You can even use new heat sinks if you know what you're doing. And
you can even replace the motherboard. I mean,
you can even replace the motherboard.
This case can be used as like a bare bone if you would choose to do that.
And you still have the opportunity to use vertically integrated graphics because that's
part of the design.
All right, so we just did the memory, and you know how to replace or pull in the new M.2. Well, we were originally trying to do this first, right? So let's get back to it.
Yep. Yeah. So.
All right. So the GPU. Well, first of all, just take out like the power connectors, so you can have those cables out of the way.
Right.
Always make sure while you're doing stuff like this, don't damage the motherboard because you can have sharp edges from other components.
Yeah.
And don't slam it on the motherboard. All right. So here.
There are actually 2 points. This graphics card is actually, can you try and wiggle it?
Yeah.
Can you try it? So this is actually still quite solidly into place.
I'm trying to apply a lot of force.
Yeah.
But
so this actually, in this design, the card is very much held into place by multiple points. So here,
so one point is
exactly
here.
At the back.
Now this part.
That's it. Yeah.
There's a small holder that's keeping the card against its back support.
Yeah.
So it can go from.
Exactly.
Well, if you're really trying, you can, but usually when you move your PC around, it won't move. And on the back side, there's not too far back, but on the back side here, there is
also it's very hard to see because it's very dark.
There's
can you turn a little bit more?
Yep.
So there's a little bit more light coming in.
So this part, you can unscrew it and then you can actually move up and down.
Yeah.
So this thing.
It's also a bit of a holder. So it's the same thing that also held the divider into place.
Yeah, exactly. And this also pushes the card downwards, so there is no space for it to move.
Yes.
So you just have to unscrew this part. And then unscrew the little clip. So, try not to lose the screws. I'm just gonna put them safely in my little
box
cup.
Exactly.
And then the little clip. So that's what I love about the magnetic heads. You'll never fall into small gaps and never to be found again. So this is loose now.
Very simple, but very effective to keep it in place.
Yes. And now, we have taken out the two major things. And always make sure that when you're trying to make something loose, especially graphics card, that you have to take a look at the slot that it's in. If there's like another bottom, if there's like another latch
locking mechanism.
Yeah. And in this case, there isn't. Makes sense because it's already being vertically integrated and it's not going to come off with all the securities. So then you can know, okay, it's safe for you to remove. Yeah. All right, so you just apply some force, tilt it, don't tilt yourself, and voila.
Gently take it out.
It's out.
There you go.
So, what shall we put in here, Peter?
I don't know. I saw some people mentioning something about a super, so we might have one of those.
Ah, that's super.
That might be a good idea. It's actually, we thought we'd make it interesting by not just, taking a card that has exactly the same dimensions like the card that was already in there. So we thought we'd make it a little bit more challenging for Ja by giving him a well, somewhat bigger card. Here we go. So this is the 2080 Super Gaming X Trio.
It sounds super.
So this thing is actually quite a bit bigger than the 2070 armor card that was in there.
Right on top of each other, you can see,
Yeah, there's quite a bit of difference.
Yeah.
So this might be a challenge for Ja, but I think it's one of the scenarios where, you know, if you really want to upgrade to a more powerful card, this is a way more powerful card. So yeah, why don't you show us how it's done?
All right, so basically you just have to reverse all the steps that I just showed you with putting this in.
Spoof pass. Can this case fit a 2080 Ti Lightning? Well, interesting you should mention it. Interesting you should mention it because, yeah, we do happen to have one. Ja, will you do the honors?
Well, if you really want to know, so for those of you who just joined, we're doing this on purpose, so if it doesn't fit, don't blame us, okay?
It's
we're
not
just trying
we
to
don't
see.
know about it. Exactly.
Exactly. And if we're being really honest, you know, with this kind of power supply, if you want to use a 2080 Lightning, Ti Lightning, well, it's going to be very, 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 very on the edge.
Physically,
it fits.
It fits.
Just fits.
It fits in terms of length. Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you will be able to fit the dividers back on it when you you know, the air divider that was in there.
Yeah.
But it's especially. Can we turn the case, like show the side when you put it in?
Let me just.
I think that's
put it
where
in first. You can stay like that.
Yeah, there you go.
So make sure you align.
Because the Lightning, remember, is 3 slots, as you can see here. The card we took out only takes 2 slots. So that's also a bit of a thing where you can probably fit it in there physically, but you will not be able to fit the tempered glass panel back in because the card is actually too thick.
Well, there you have it. It doesn't fit.
No.
So you can't slide it in.
Unfortunately.
It's too fat.
But besides that, there's also one other thing. Show them the power connectors.
Yes. So
Lightning
here
has 3 8-pins, or requires 3 8-pins.
And this, if you combine them,
this is what we have.
Only a, well, let me just
we have 2 8-pins.
Align them properly.
Exactly. So that wouldn't work.
Only 2 8-pins.
Exactly.
So that's why when I said, you know, think about, okay, what kind of connectors does it use? How many? You got to make sure you know that before you buy a new graphics card.
Exactly.
And spare yourself all the troubles of returning it.
Exactly. So pretty much one of the most powerful cards we could think of, and one of the most interesting ones, because obviously it's new, was that should be able to work in this system was the 2080 Super Gaming Trio, because, ta-da, it has 2 8-pins.
Yep. And now all you got to make sure is that it will fit. So you got to measure it, but in this case we didn't, because we want to show you the scenario of if it doesn't fit, what kind of a scenario you might have. So got to make sure you align and push it in, and when you see that the PCIe is aligned properly with the card's connector, push it down
gently,
and you can hear a gentle click.
Yeah.
This means you have successfully installed your graphics card in the PCIe vertically. And in this case, compared to Lightning, you can see it actually fits. Yeah. It just fits, but it fits. Yeah. In width and in depth.
To be fair, I don't know if you can still fit the panel here as well. If you do, it'll probably be very close to the fan, so it might impact thermal performance. So we don't really recommend to use this card in this case. But we're just showing that physically it fits. And if you don't mind leaving the panel off, or you can maybe, you know, create a bit more space here, so the panel will be a bit further away from the chassis, that could work. But yeah, it fits. And you have the right power connectors as well. So it would actually work.
Yes, so then connect the power connectors.
Which is in tight spaces, you will see later on in other builds, increasingly challenging.
All right.
Yeah.
So voila, there you have it. Your graphics card is installed and properly powered. So now to do your Infinite X, the honor, you gotta of course put back the divider.
But also the ribbon cable for the PCIe is not connected yet.
Of course, but after that, after you have put this back, you can connect it. So right now you can't yet, but you gotta, like I said, reverse all the steps. So make sure it's pointing outside. So when you're trying to stick it back in, you can push it in. And the cable for the CPU cooler can be in the way. You can push it like away gently, don't break it. So then you can slowly, gently pull this so that it will come out of it.
Yes.
Then bend it in and make sure you align the side latches so you can stick it in.
Exactly.
Now I can imagine that for you it's going to be a lot easier because you're going to have the right position to do this. Well,
John's
I'm doing this
like
this backwards.
Yeah. You can see it in the left bottom. You know, you can see how awkwardly he's trying to do this.
So make sure, okay,
he's suffering
stuck in,
for you guys.
and then push
gently
this back into its slot.
The PCIe connector.
Because otherwise your installation of the PCIe, well, of your graphics card is pointless.
Yeah.
So it's in, and then the screws that I have properly put away can be taken out again.
Yes.
So remember, like I said, there's one screw on the, well, actually, let me turn this around.
Oh. Which part do you want to highlight?
Can you show here?
Yes.
Yes. So remember, we took one out of here because this one is holding the GPU in its place. So you got to put that one back. And we had a little clipper that was being installed here. Well, in this case, because this graphics card is a lot bigger, you have to leave this out.
Yes, you cannot fit it into the same space.
That's, I mean, for yourself to consider, but generally we recommend to leave it in, so you need to find a similar sized graphics card. Yeah. So you can still use the little clipper. Well, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Oh, I haven't aligned the holes properly. It seems, yeah, it was a bit high. Interesting. All right. Try number 2. I think it just moved again.
I think someone get doped is already very happy with this stream because he's saying this is the case I really want and wanted to buy and upgrade, so this is perfect to watch.
Well, that really sweetens my heart because now at least I know, all the dedication, hard work is actually being. Well,
you're actually helping somebody.
Yeah. Finally, my life has meaning. So that's one in place. And like I said, the other clipper, well, it can be placed back up, but you can see it's still very sturdy.
Spoofast, the glass panel is still open at the sides. Yes. So there is like, you mean that like there are some standoffs like this, which create indeed a bit of room between the case itself and the glass, which obviously will sit here. However, because the card itself is now also a bit wider, I don't know if you can turn the back towards me. Let's see, wait, like this, because here you can probably see it. So this also sticks out, and I don't know if we can get it both. See, so it sticks out just about as much as the standoff. So that means that the glass will be pretty much like up against the card here. And that's not really a good thing. So that's why we're saying, hey, watch that, because this could mean that the glass is so close that the fans will actually, not be able to get airflow or air because the glass is pressing up against it. So you would, for example, if you would be able to get a bit wider standoffs here, which would, for example, double the space, then you would probably have a better time and a better
Exactly,
better
and I
thermal
think
performance.
these kind of aftermarket solutions are very widely available nowadays. And well, we were at the backside anyway, so let's take a look at. Before, when I showed you, you had this little screw taken out. This was to secure the divider for the chambers. So you gotta put this one back on.
Yeah.
Back in, or I should say. Screws, and screws.
Oh,
yeah.
You actually didn't.
I didn't align it yet.
I did this one as well. You need to actually push it from the inside as well.
Because it's a bit flexible.
Yes. So that the screw actually grips the plastic, the divider as well. Right.
But there's the last screw that you need to take care of, which is still one of the divider screws that we took out earlier, which is this part.
Yeah.
So you gotta align the hole first.
Lift it up slightly, indeed.
And make sure it doesn't move.
This work, sometimes it can suck because you're working with screws that can fall and you're working in confined spaces.
Yeah. So
let me tell you, it sucks even more when somebody's holding a camera, basically to watch you and how you do it.
Watch you fail.
Exactly. And also, if you're not able to stand like straight in front of the case, but if you have to like bend over it, like Ja is doing now, that makes it even more of a challenge.
So now you have reattached everything. You have upgraded your supposedly M.2 SATA or M.2 with the RAMs, and you have a new graphics card. So it's kind of
showed you how to remove the core. You can remove the cooler, the CPU cooler, to change the CPU if needed. Of course, you can also see on the inside here you've got like regular fans. So if ever you want to replace those on the top, for example, there, or the one that's at the back here with basically on the radiator. Wow, this really sucks in doing it this way. Like here's the radiator and here's the fan. So this is pushing the air through it basically to help cool it. So you can replace all these things basically if you want to. Yeah,
and if we turn into the back side, for those of you who want to upgrade your HDD or SSD, you just have to unscrew the backplate. This is still very general. Just take the screws. I'm not that good with my lefty, so let me just put it this way. So is there more that are saying they were planning on getting the Infinite X?
Not sure. I'm just looking at for sufficient airflow.
I wish I could, but
you want way more than 1 centimeter space. Yeah, you're right, Benjamin. So that's usually it's best to have like more space is better. Even if leaving the side off, for example, might be even better.
Yeah. So I took the screws off, then just pull backwards, and it will come loose.
There you go.
So what do we have? What do we have here? Here we have.
Yeah. So here you have the other side.
Yep. Hey, and maybe while I'm explaining stuff like this, we can already reward someone with Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Yeah, once I have one hand, maybe.
I mean, you can put it down. So here we have the 2.5-inch SSD slot that you can use to do the upgrading part for the SSD. And well, you can also replace your old HDD, which is sitting right here. So at the bottom, and there's still one more space for one more bracket with the HDD right on top of it. So if you want to replace it, just take the connector off right here. There are two connectors, which is one is going for the motherboard and the other one coming from the power supply. Just take them out and you can take this out, replace it. There are two latches on the side of the HDD. If you press them, together, you can just take it out. And here, if you want to put in a new, well, I think we have a winner.
Yeah, but let's first finish this, because let's not mix things up. So there, indeed, you have a 2.5-inch drive bay for SSDs, so SATA SSDs, for example, or even small form factor HDDs if you're still using those. And it's completely pre-configured, basically, so all the connectors are already there, already connected, so you don't have to connect them yourself on the motherboard. Everything is ready to go.
Yeah. So take one, shove it in, and
make sure you have it the right way around. I don't know if that is.
So let me see. So yeah, like Peter said, check. Just pretend you're putting it back and see if you can align the connectors. I can't really see from here, but it seems like I need to turn it around.
Yeah.
So you can easily tell by looking at the connectors.
Yeah.
Now, then you gotta just make sure you put in all the screws to the sides. There are 4, 2 on each side. And just this will make sure that the SSD will not move while you're installing it, and make sure it won't move after you have installed it. So, and when you have done everything, then you just have to, let me take a good look.
Just slide it in there, make sure the connectors are aligned.
So align it, the clippers, and this is already being pre-installed in such position that when you push it, that's all you have to do.
Just click it in, and then
afterwards
fix the screws.
Oh, luckily I have all the screws right here. So when you have no one helping you, you really got to make sure you have a magnetic head, because that basically means you can spare one hand. So then just screw it back on. And the beauty of this is that after you've installed it, like hardware-wise, you don't even need to do much software-wise. Actually, nothing. The Windows will just recognize it, and it's good to go.
Usually you do have to do like a storage manager and activate it and maybe format it before you can actually use it and assign it a drive number or designation. But yes, then it's pretty much ready to go.
Yep.
So yeah, and actually, I don't know if you already told them like this, but this is the power supply.
Yeah, no, I haven't told them about this part, but that, of course, you can also take out and replace.
Yes, because this is pretty much a regular ATX shape. You know, it's nothing special. It's not small form factor. You're going to see power supplies in other builds which are actually significantly smaller than this. So this form factor you can actually very easily find anywhere and everywhere, basically, and swap it out for a different unit if you need. So that's also, this build is really one of the most versatile ones to upgrade pretty much anything on.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
So that's for the Infinite X. And you can literally, like we said, just replace everything.
Pretty much,
if you want.
Yeah. Or get somebody to do it for you.
That always works.
So while Ja puts this thing back together, we indeed have our first winner for a Wolfenstein game code. I'll just put the, let's see, both the giveaway and the promo bundle there as well. So again, you can go to msi.com/2/insider or click the Gleam link. I'll put it in the chat momentarily. Also, if you want this game and you're planning to upgrade anyway, it's good to know that if you get any RTX 20 series card, or a gaming desktop which already has an RTX 20 series card, or a gaming laptop with an RTX 20 series graphics card in there, you get both Wolfenstein Youngblood and Control for free, but you have to claim them from NVIDIA. Make sure that the reseller you buy your product is actually participating, because not all resellers participate for this bundle. So make sure, if you do want to make use of this bundle, that your reseller actually has it. All right, so our first winner is Ado. Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Ado. We'll get the game code to you as soon as possible. Again, we have more codes to give away. I'll just put the Gleam link into the chat again right now. And hopefully, hopefully we get to make more of you guys happy. I don't know, sometimes the link seems to post just fine in YouTube. Now I've done it 2 times, I think, but you know, whatever. As long as you guys get the link, it should be okay.
Yep.
All right.
So that was the Infinite X.
That was one down, 3 to go.
Now to make things a little bit more difficult compared to a mid-tower sized, you can imagine a smaller form sized desktops.
Well, it is smaller.
But that was actually a trap, because that's what you would think. Like, hey, it's smaller, so it's going to be more difficult, right? Well, not necessarily.
Yes and no.
Yep. So let's just start with the easy part. So the Trident X, right? On the side here, if you just open it up, you can just tilt it and it will come off right now with 2 hinges. And
let me just take the hinges out for you.
Here you have 2 very visible parts of what you can upgrade. So 2.5 inches brackets in which you can hold the SSDs. So here one is already being in use. If you wanted to replace it, unscrew it. I'll do it with the empty one so I can show you how to install one too while you're at it. So very easy. Unscrew the screws.
I'm just drinking water, Phil. Nothing specific in there. Actually, I'm running out of water, so I might ask somebody to run and get some more for me soon.
Isn't Robin listening?
I don't know.
So 3 screws and it's loose. And here you can see there's already a connector waiting and sitting for you to install.
Yeah.
You just have to find the other one.
So that's the power connector, and you still
have
need to
the
find
SATA
the
cable
SATA connector
going to the motherboard. So I still have
I think it's
2 right here.
I think it's in the cable.
I think it's being
clutter right there.
Yeah, just gotta find it like upside down. But yeah, there's one there for sure because I can see it on the motherboard. Just gotta find it.
Let's see. So this one is actually running through, so that one's already in use. So the other one.
So I think the other one's actually going to the other side. See, these are all the kind of stuff that you will encounter when you're trying to do this kind of stuff.
Yep. Okay. So maybe
image match for MSI. Well, I don't think you need an endoscope camera for this yet, but if you want to, of course, you can always use it.
Well, I just unfastened this little clip, but just checking out how I can get it back in. There we go.
Clip.
Yes. Yeah, to keep the cables in place.
But what it comes down to is still, well, if you want to upgrade it, well, in this case, you gotta do a little bit of homework and find the little cable that's hiding going to the motherboard. Or you can just use one yourself, because it doesn't necessarily have to come from the case, because this SATA connection cable is, well, it's very normal. You can find it everywhere. And you can even just find this one and plug into the motherboard. And what it comes down to is that you have 2 connectors right here. And this one is the power one going to the PSU, and this one is going to your motherboard.
For the data.
So right now, just align this part and the imaginary SATA cable to the motherboard. And afterwards, you just have to align it and make sure.
I see Merrick is, he watched one of your earlier streams. He's saying as long as he doesn't shoot or drown the PC like last time.
I don't remember ever drowning the PC.
You filled one of those original Trident cases with water, didn't you?
But I mean, I already killed him before that, so he didn't drown it technically.
It was empty indeed, yeah. But to show, like, you know, because everybody says it's like, they by showing the amount of content of a case, they say it's this much liters, but it's strange because, you know, who measures things in liters really when you're talking about PCs? So you thought, let's just fill it up with water and show you what that actually looks like.
I remember that stream. That was like at the end of the stream, and it was actually quite a lot of fun to do that, because there were a lot of insecurity, as in, will it leak?
Yeah. Oh, just give me like this. It's okay. So everybody, thank you to Robin for bringing me some additional water.
So he did listen.
Hopefully he didn't put anything weird in there. No.
Yeah. I think everybody's already informed regarding the giveaway already. So that's the installing part. If you want to take it out, same part as installing, but then just refers to take this off and take out the cables, and put in a new one and put it back, screw it in, just like you saw right here. So, and here you actually also see the PSU, but this one is actually a bit more modified than the regular ATX size ones. So if you want to replace this part, you really got to know where to look. Yeah. Because
it's not impossible.
No.
But it's more difficult to find.
Yeah, and well, if you want to replace the CPU, that's a bit more difficult than just make a few screws loose and that's it, because you're gonna have to take out the entire.
That's the cooler, right?
CPU cooler.
That's the CPU cooler.
This is actually our customized CPU cooler with full RGB Mystic light. And you got to take out the entire cooler and then try to reach the CPU.
See if we can get a bit of a close-up for that. So as you can see, there's a lot of heat pipes here at the bottom as well. So this is actually quite a really nice, powerful cooler.
I mean, that's how we cool the i9-9900K in here.
Exactly.
Even though it's small, we still make it work because we have the customized version of the cooler that's still capable of cooling it.
Yeah.
All right, so this side, well, all the components you can already see here. And if we switch it around to the other side, which is still closed, well, for this, you gotta make sure to unscrew the top two little screws. Then you can take out the upper part, and then you are almost free to do everything you want on the other side.
There you go.
No, I still have it. Maybe we should have taken a automatic screwdriver, or whatever you call it. So it's loose, and then just shove it a bit backwards. So, and then you can just tilt it.
Lift it free.
Yeah. So,
so do you want to get a shot like of the top? There we go. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. There we go. So as you can see, it's pretty much all graphics card at the top.
Yeah, and I'm gonna unscrew this part too, so you can have a complete view of whatever is left.
You don't actually, I don't think you actually need to remove this side panel to replace the graphics card, right?
No, you don't, but there's a lot more to see.
Yeah, exactly. But so if you only want to replace the graphics card on this one, you should be fine just removing the side and the top, basically.
Well,
and then from the top, you can pretty much, replace the graphics card.
Well, if you want to take it out, you still have to take this off. But when you're reinstalling it, you can lift this because you just have to push it down and screw it. But I'm going to show you why that is. Because there's still a little clip. Well, not a clip, but you know, the regular PCIe latch that you need to press down first, because in the Infinite, remember, it wasn't there. But in the Trident X, there's actually still a little latch. Well, first let's give an overview. Here you can see the M.2 being installed on the back side of the motherboard, interestingly. Because now we're actually making the optimized use of the space on the motherboard, even though it's so small.
And this thing that you see on here is actually
a cooling pad,
a thermal pad.
Yeah. So this is actually connected to the case, which is like in this case working like a
heatsink.
Heatsink, yeah, so to speak.
Passive heatsink, pretty much.
So if you want to replace this one, like I showed you or told you earlier, just unscrew this little screw. Well, let me just show you, because why not? So unscrew it. You see then this is normal when it sticks out.
Yeah.
That's its original state, so to speak. Just take it out, find a new one, and just stick it back in. And it will stay like this. Like I said, that's normal. Yeah. Push it down, align the hole, and fire in the hole. Put it back in. That's it. And you're done with replacing it. So, all right, the GPU then. Like I said, if you take a good look, like in this little hole, I should say, or something, there's still a latch.
If you look closely indeed, there's the PCIe latch that's also on motherboards is also there. So that means that if you just start pulling on the graphics card from the top, it's not going to lift free. And if you pull hard enough, it's actually going to damage. So that's why you need to indeed be careful and make sure to...
Yeah. So
release.
In this case, a little tip is just use a screwdriver that's thin enough and long enough to reach it, because I have to take a look where the latch is, and then just go for the latch and push down.
Careful.
Yeah, it's my left hand.
I know.
So when you see the latches being pulled down,
let's see if we can get a close up. There you go. That's the latch.
The black
so
thing.
Actually, I think it might not actually be pushed down all the way, is it?
This one.
Well,
I think
you can actually, you should be able to tell, but just by trying and lifting the card, wiggling it a bit, and then you can see if it's actually.
All right. So before that, there are still 2 screws on top of it that you have to loosen. So 1, 2.
Yeah, it's basically the normal I/O screws, or that are usually at the back of your case.
So, and then try to do it gently, see if it comes loose. It does. So this means, yes, it was loose. And now you just have to take the cable out of it, or you can do this before this, whatever you want, but I think this is better because you have more space to work, because the cables can be quite tight sometimes.
Yeah.
So you took the feeder guard out.
There you go. And to be fair, guys, this was already a
2080.
2080, right? So it's going to be tough to upgrade. There's only one option, really, right?
Did you say TI?
Did anybody say 2080 Ti?
Ta-da.
So it's the bigger brother. It's very similar, right? It's
it's from the same line, right?
Both Ventus, indeed. But physically, let's see, because there's a small difference. It's really hard sometimes to tell these apart, as you can see. They are so similar. The easiest way is, because it doesn't really say like 2080 or 2080 Ti on them. Maybe it should. That might be a good idea. But the other easiest way to do it is by looking at the power connectors. Because if you look at the sides, this is the one that came out of it. And as you can see, there's an 8-pin and there's a 6-pin. It's the shape of an 8-pin, but it only has 6 pins on this one. Jazz card has double 8 pins. So obviously that's the more powerful card. So that will be the Ti.
Yep.
But apart from that, very similar cards and very solid cooling.
All right, then let's install the new card. Make sure that it's hard to do with one hand, but the power connector, because they can be 6 or 8, so that's why you see they're being split, because sometimes you use a 6 one, sometimes you use 8. If it's 8, you just push them back together, align them, hold them together, and then push it in and make sure it's the right side.
Mr. Loverture is asking, I have a question to ask. I have a brand new Trident X Plus 2080 Ti.
Wow,
but
good for you.
It is being, well, maybe not, but it's being sent back tomorrow because on startup there were pink and purple pixels. Everywhere. Also, the graphics card did not look like it was fitted correctly, as it looked bent. Is it meant to look like that? I think we could safely say no.
No, I think something went wrong during transport.
Yeah, so that's regrettable, especially if you buy a high-end system like that. So yeah, I mean, hopefully the replacement unit you get is actually. It sounds like it suffered during transport or something like that. Because no, I mean, it should be assembled like pretty much like Josh showed you earlier, like this, and like this one will be once he's put the 2080 Ti in there. Actually, he's creating the system right now that you, I think, have or should have soon.
Yeah, because the Plus version that you have is basically, it looks the same. Aesthetics and everything is the same, except you have like more expansion slots for M.2 and memory. But everything is still placed the same, so yours should definitely not look like it was bent.
No.
Because like I pushed this down because I aligned the PCIe slot. Yeah. And this is how it should look like. There shouldn't be anything that looks like it was bent.
You still have to fasten a few screws in.
So 2 screws here.
Yeah, I mean, it's always regrettable when something like this happens, and hopefully the replacement unit you get will be correct and will not be broken. And why do I have the pixels? Well, when you say that the graphics card looked weird and bent and stuff like that, I think that's a good
tell.
Yeah, like that could be the cause, because that could be that the graphics card maybe it was bumped around a bit so that it wasn't really connected to the motherboard anymore. Because it does sound like a graphics card issue, or either that, or maybe a display cable that's broken. There's many things that can cause this. or even graphics card memory. I remember back when the first batch of 2080 Ti's were launched, and I think it was especially the Founders Edition that had, or at least a lot of people were reporting having issues, like the Space Invaders and like memory-related issues. I see a lot less of them now, so I pretty much think they fixed it, or at least I hope so. Yeah. So Jazz actually now putting the top back on there. There you go. So it's basically the same like taking it off. You just slide it on.
Put it in the right holes. You can see very easily. Put it in.
And then
give it a little push.
Into place. And
that's it.
It clicks into place.
Yeah. So I hope you can see that this is how it's supposed to look like. Everything is properly aligned, symmetric.
Yep. There's nothing sticking out, nothing weird looking.
Being bent, no.
Exactly.
So it's really unfortunate to hear that you experienced that, but I think we all know how...
He says it does not look the way like yours is. Well, then you did the right thing in returning it. And, the version you should receive, should look like, pretty much like this one.
And we all know, I think, how postal servers sometimes tend to go with your goods.
Yeah, it really depends on. Yeah, I think we've all had the experience where something was thrown around in a bus while they were delivering it.
Yeah, I think nothing is as extreme as when people are trying to arrange your baggage into planes.
Yeah.
Or the way
they
around.
Also tend to throw it, like from a distance.
It's almost like a game sometimes.
Yeah, they tend to treat it like who can throw it from the furthest distance. Indeed.
Who can cause the most damage.
Well, that might not be their first priority, but
no, of course not.
It does end up that way.
So the screws are in place, so the upper part is already tight.
There you go.
And of course, 3 more screws for the side panel. Luckily, I have them saved. Very, very, very safe. I mean, this is maybe like a bit of the boring part to just do all the screws, right? Because right now you just want to test the system, see what kind of new performance you got with your new upgrades. But
of course you do. But you need to do
a bit more patience.
It takes a few minutes, but trust me, you want to do that.
Trust me, I know that it's especially boring when I know people are watching me do it. So
can it run Crysis? Oh hell yes, it can.
Ooh, that's a difficult question, man.
Can you run Minecraft on this PC? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will run that as well.
So all right, and Peter, you have the hinges right here.
The washers. There you go.
So
put those in, and then
the tempered glass door actually doesn't need any screws because it works with hinges. So then you just have to put the door end hinges, and you have
gently let it drop down.
Successfully upgraded your Trident X.
There you go.
Or X Plus, which looks the same.
Yeah. And now you have a system with a 2080 Ti instead of a 2080.
All right.
Yeah, Merrick is saying something I was also thinking about, maybe giving you an advice on. Just a word of advice. He says, test the system if you can boot up first before putting back the panels. I've had this a lot, indeed, where I was like super excited to get the system reassembled and start gaming, and then you find out something was missing. Maybe a connector you forgot, or maybe something came loose again, and you got everything assembled and all the screws are tightened, and instead of being able to play your game, you're stuck doing troubleshooting, and then you have to take everything apart again and reassemble everything. So indeed, I think it's a good tip to before you reassemble the panels, make sure everything is connected, obviously, because else it won't work. But it's okay to leave 1 or 2 panels off if possible, so you can test. Just boot the system up to check, is it working, and if it's working, then maybe you can either turn it off again and reassemble the panels, or do it when the system is on. Be careful about that, because you don't want to accidentally touch something.
Kind of reminds me of when you're trying to install a new motherboard and you have put everything on the motherboard, you reinstalled it into the case, and then you notice, I forgot the I/O shield.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is something that, it won't stop your PC from functioning, but you do want to have it in there.
Yep. So let's See, did we
Have you
miss
seen the
anything?
ray tracing version of Minecraft? No, I haven't, Benjamin. So, but you have my my attention now. I'm gonna research that right after the stream because I do wonder what that looks like. So will there be more RTX 2070 Super MSI cards? Well, we already have, from the top of my head, at least was it 3-4 models? So which model are you specifically looking for, or are you just curious what else we can do with that? What is better cooling system, air or liquid? Really depends on the setting. I mean, in general, liquid is considered to be better, but it also depends. You know, the single radiator can sometimes be, because that's like the smallest variant, can sometimes be less effective than like direct air cooling. Again, if you have a case with a lot of airflow, air cooling should be more than sufficient, unless you're doing crazy stuff or having like a hell of a lot of like multi-GPU in the old days, you might need extra cooling. Or if you're doing mad overclocking, you know, then you might want to consider liquid cooling. But on average, really, air cooling should be sufficient.
Man, somebody just assumed my race.
Somebody assumed your race?
Yes.
You don't identify as what they said?
Maybe I do, but it still assumed my race. Like you would assume someone's gender.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So what do you identify as? Like unicorn Apache helicopter?
No, not really. But looking at how much peanut butter I actually eat during lunch breaks, it's kind of hard nowadays. Yeah. But when are we going to do a PC giveaway?
I don't know, but what we are going to do now is a different giveaway because we are going to draw our second winner of the day.
Lucky you guys.
Yes.
So remember, go to the link, msi.com/2/insider. We'll put a visual up in the screen in a moment. Yes. And if it doesn't work for you, go to the chat, because Peter will put the chat in, and put a link in the chat, not chat in the link. And you can visit that link directly to the giveaway, perform your actions if you just joined, and you can still have the chance to win one or two, well, just one, but for those who didn't win yet, you also have the chance to still win the game code.
Yes.
And right now, if you're trying to upgrade or planning on upgrading, and you're interested in the RTX series graphics card or a desktop, laptop with the RTX 20 series in it, you can go do that right now and make sure that your retailer has this bundle running because NVIDIA has this bundle right now.
Yes.
Which gives you Control and Wolfenstein.
Yeah, both games. So you don't even have to choose. You get both. So yeah, if you're planning to upgrade anyway, you get 2 free games. Why not do it? Exactly. But again, like I mentioned before, make sure that the reseller you buy it from is actually participating with this bundle, because not all resellers are participating. These are specific resellers who work with NVIDIA and basically NVIDIA partners that only have this bundle. So make sure, you don't miss out on 2 free games.
Exactly. And I see that some people are asking regarding the monitors on the desk and what monitor is better, IPS or TN. So first question, these two are our MPG series monitors, the MPG 27C and CQ. So one is C curved and the other one is also curved, but then Quad HD. So the Q stands for Quad HD. These two are really, if you want the best monitor with the best features, you can have this. That's why it's from our MPG series. Right. It's the performance, so you have the performance, but you also have the most features that we offer in our lineups. And so actually on the front, there's also a LED strip bar, which can translate in-game events into alerts. So if you're playing CSGO, if you're out of ammo, you're getting hit, for example, the lights will start blinking. So that's what I mean with extra features than just simply monitor specs.
Exactly. Works with SteelSeries Game Sense, if you know what that is. So what they display on the keyboard, basically, like health status, ammo status, stuff like that, kill streak, whatever, you can actually display at the bottom of your monitor. So
you can tune that in the software. And so the other question was which monitor,
type, right?
Yeah, panel type was better, like IPS or TN. So it kind of depends, because if you really want like the best color reproduction, viewing angles, contrast, you should definitely go for IPS. But well, nowadays actually IPS really caught up with TN. If you're talking about speed.
Traditionally, it would be indeed speed. The TN panel has faster reaction times, so it can faster change color, and IPS did suffer in the past a little bit from like ghosting or stuff like that. But anyway, so it was considered slower and so not for fast-paced gaming, that TN would be the best option.
Right. And it was also better on TN, development-wise, to have like much higher refresh rate than IPS. But nowadays, like I said, IPS is catching up, but it costs you much more than when you're having the same spec for TN panels.
It's more expensive, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, you can achieve the same with IPS nowadays as for TN, but it will cost you way more. So it will depend on what you want. Do you want the best viewing angle and color reproduction, contrast, stuff like that, but paying more for it? Or you can go for TN. But more interestingly is that you can go for VA. You can kind of have both.
It's like in between, right?
Yeah,
it
it's
has the
like
best
in
of
between.
both worlds.
It has the speed of DN and it also has the color reproduction, contrast viewing angles from IPS. Well, not exactly the same, but it sits in between. So it kind of has best of both worlds. So instead of arguing, okay, is IPS better or TN better? It has its perks and downs, but VN is something that you should look into.
Yeah. So Merrick is already saying, I will stick to the VA panel. I mean, so again, this is very like more of like a personal preference, I guess. So the best advice the advice I always give to people when they ask me is, you can look at the specs, that's fine, but the best thing you can do is try and find one of those monitors in a shop, look at it, because they're on display, and see if that's, if you find it, a good experience. If you like the color reproduction, and it's still, this is so tricky, because some stores they can have like the wrong color profile, or somebody changed it, to make it look all crappy. So that doesn't really represent the monitor. So, but have a good look at it, and the experience is really
definitely
the thing
worth it to try it out.
Exactly. All right.
So, no more questions. Then let's go to our little white princess.
The third one. 2 down,
prince,
2 to go.
Yeah. So this is the Trident 3 from Trident series, and this is the smallest one that we have to offer.
Yeah.
And the Trident 3. So this one also actually comes in black. If you're more familiar with that one, that's fine.
This is the Arctic.
Yeah. This is the Trident 3 Arctic.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, also you can come in 7th generation, 8th, or 9th. Yeah. And this one is from the 8th generation. So yeah, it's quite okay to upgrade this one right now if you want to have more performance. So like there's a 1060 in here, while the ITX version. So let me just show you how to open it first, then I can explain to you, okay, what can you upgrade here and how can you do that?
Yes.
So this one is actually a bit more complicated if you compare to the other two that you just seen, because this is way more compact. So they needed to use a different kind of design, also different kinds of closing mechanisms in order to make this work and still have a sturdy quality. Because if you move this around, because it's so easy to move around, you drop it, it's just not gonna like splatter into 1,000 pieces. No. So,
but you have limited space, you need to make optimal use of that space. So you get creative solutions.
Exactly. So, first of all, you might not have noticed this, but you can actually take the foot apart.
The base, so, you can just take it off.
You can make it like this. You can use this while standing, or you can take it off and place it like a console, I guess. But then
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, but it kind of reminds you of a console, right?
Maybe.
So yeah. But
you know what we did? We forgot to announce the winner, the second one.
Oh. Yeah.
I just saw somebody. Did they choose a winner? You're right.
Right. We're so into the story.
Yes. So, congratulations to the second winner, whose name is Jones Wong.
Jones Wong.
Jones Wong.
All right. Congratulations.
Yes.
I hope you enjoy the game. And if we're lucky, we actually still get to play the game. But it's
looking at the time, we still have 2 to go. So let's get a move on.
All right. So for this, we actually have to, well, this is not really using brute force, but this is using like, how do you describe this? Like smart. You have to apply for smart.
Well, you need to know what you're doing basically, and that's why you are showing them how to do this. So let's get into the close-up view probably, right?
So this one is already like kind of loosened up, but you need to...
This is the top, by the way, right?
Yeah. Let me grab something else that's easier to use, thinner.
Or no, actually, this is the bottom.
Yeah, this bottom, here's the logo, so this is the top. Oh, sorry, I saw you said the bottom. But...
So this is actually at the bottom. So the bottom panel, you can actually gently like wiggle.
Yeah, so the same with the upper part. You can just wiggle it and, well, we have to start here. So for example, I took this one. This one is like a small tool, it's like a pincer, but it's not really what you use it for. But generally, I use this side because it's a lot thinner to do stuff like that.
So you can get in between there.
Yeah, so
gently.
give it a little crack, not too hard, you know, because you don't need much space. You just have to apply it smartly. So that's easy. It's already
because
off.
as you can see, it's being held in place by let's see if we can see it here, by these latches basically. Like things like this.
So like I said, this kind of stuff, you know, you can break them if you don't apply the right force. So you have to be careful.
It is plastic, guys, so it can break. If you do it wrong, it can break.
So then you can see there are quite a few screws in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to loosen them all. So let's just start in order to take off the side panels. So you can already see this is kind of different than this, right? Because this is, the outside part is plastic, but the inside is being reinforced by metals, metal parts. So it's a way more sturdy. So 2 down. Almost there. Shit. It just fell. Did you drop it in there?
I think it's
right here.
Right there. Yeah, exactly. It was just hiding in the corner there. Okay. So you got 2 more to go?
Let me see. Yeah, 2 more to go. I think after today, I don't have to see any screws anymore.
You've done your screwing around for the day.
Oh, yes. I'm too old to be screwing around anyways.
You're never too old to screw around, man.
Yeah, that's only what society makes you think.
Yeah.
All right, I think I got every screw right. Yeah. So then after you have taken everything out, so this one with this logo, the side one, also where the GPU is sitting, you can just give a little slide.
Like that.
See?
Yeah.
And
clicks out of place.
It's loose. Yeah, like I said, you see, the inside is being reinforced by metal plates, so not just plastic fantastic. All right. So what do we have here?
So this is the inside of the Trident 3.
Yep. So this one is a lot more easier to move around than the previous one, so I'm happy with that part.
It's quite light, right?
Yeah. So
it doesn't have the power supply, so that's also one of the things where you can mention. The power supply is usually also a relatively heavy part. Yeah. So this one doesn't have it inside, so that also makes it quite a bit lighter.
So yeah, like we told you, right? So like we said earlier, in this one it's actually a bit different than the rest because the GPU in here is an ITX sized one. So do we have one right here?
Yep, we do.
We can compare a bit with what we mean. So ITX also always means like the smallest size compared to like ATA and stuff like that. So we're going to replace the ITX graphics card in here and to compare the size.
A full size.
Yeah. So if you take a look, this is like the full-sized one. And this is already like one of the smaller ones in the full-sized graphics card. Yeah. So for example, the Gaming X3s that we showed you is like way longer. Yeah. So see, different. So in this case, it's especially...
Let's go for the extreme difference.
Boy.
Let's go for the extreme difference. There we go.
If you
really want to go crazy and put lightning in there, that's not going to work.
I don't even think you can fit in the entire case, like vertically even.
Like the lightning is actually taller than the whole Trident 3, guys.
Yeah.
That's what the hell.
Especially important here is that you pay attention to, okay, what kind of setup do you have? So if you have an ITX sized graphics card, you cannot just go out and be like, oh my God, there's a new graphics card and I want to have it. And you buy it and then you'll be like, oh, but it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So you need to know the right size. So we're going to replace this one. Here we actually have a 1060 and to replicate a realistic real-life situation, we're going to put in a 1660 Ti. So there's quite a performance difference between 1660 Ti and the 1060.
Yes.
So, all right. So that's for the graphics card. And here you can also see the memory module. So banks, this is a very small form factor gaming desktop. That's why it doesn't use a full-sized memory card. So here we have one that we took out from the Infinite X. You can see that if we put them right next to it, it's like about half of the size.
Yeah.
So these are the UDIMMs. So make sure that when you want to upgrade your memory, you don't buy a regular sized memory card, because that's what you would expect. Like this can fit in here, but that's not the case.
So you need the smaller form factor.
So same here, you have to click them, make sure they're clicked, and then
you take them out.
Take them out.
So that mechanism is the same as on the big motherboard, basically. You've got the latches there.
Latches on both sides.
Exactly.
Take them out and then grab new ones, put them back in. So again, make sure that the part where it's being divided is properly aligned with the part that's dividing the slot too.
Exactly.
And don't use brute force like Peter said, because if it doesn't fit, it's probably not made to fit like that.
Yeah.
Don't use too much force. And when you hear the clicks, that means it's sitting properly. Then you know that you have done a good job.
Yeah.
So now you've applied new ones. So that's how easy it was to replace the RAM. Yeah. And here for the CPU, well, it's sitting right under here if you're interested. This is also, again, one of our customized CPU cooler with heat sinks and even heat pipes included. If you want to include this, exclude this, well, exchange it. That's not really recommended because this is more or less like a one-of-a-kind design. So you can't really buy it anywhere.
No.
Not that I know of, at least.
You can't buy it separately in most stores. So that's, we always recommend to use this cooler. Even actually, we also don't really recommend to upgrade the CPU on these ones. Yeah. But to be fair, that's also not really usually the part you're going for. So either you're expanding your memory, maybe if you want more, that's definitely possible. Maybe even a little bit faster memory, or your graphics card, or even possibly your storage.
Yeah. On the other side, I can also show you how to upgrade the storage. Yeah. So when I open this part, I can show you that. But since we're here now, well, let me just open the case anyways, and then show you what's on the back side of it. So in order to take the other side off, you gotta make sure to spot this little spot in here, because I missed it in the first part and it was a hell of a pain in the ass because I couldn't get it off. Yeah. Well, here, like there's a hole inside the motherboard. I'm doing this like while watching the camera. So here in the motherboard, there's a hole, and in the hole, there's actually a little screw that goes in
all the way on the other side.
I'm almost there. Shit, this is difficult. Okay, here, see, there's a little screw in there. You gotta take this one out because this is really the little guy that
you have to know it. If you don't know about it, you're very unlikely to find it.
Yeah. So in this case, especially if you don't have like a magnetic head, good luck with taking this one out.
Yeah, that one's gonna be stuck behind the motherboard.
Yeah. So that's like the biggest pain in the ass.
All right.
Now this one is out. And then we got to make sure that on the side here, there are still 2 more screws holding the metal frame. So here one, and then
on the corner
here one. Yeah. So just unscrew these ones. So now you see what I meant with, after this stream, I cannot see a single screw anymore, right? I even lost count.
Benjamin, there's a reason why it had a nickname. It was called the console killer, because it looks similar-ish to the form factor of a console, at least. The goal of this was also to make a PC that didn't really look like a traditional PC. We wanted to make it look more like a console, like something you would put in your living room.
Yep.
So that's why it's both smaller, but also, in general, just different looking. And depending on your own taste, better looking. Just a bit more stylized or stylish.
I'm trying to see if I forgot any steps.
Did you miss something? I'm wondering, because there was one screw on the other side of the motherboard. Is there maybe also a screw like behind the graphics card? I'm just wondering. But I don't know.
There shouldn't be.
Okay.
Because you gotta take them out by grabbing this and just pull them in the opposite way. It's coming loose.
What about this little thing here? This is like a connector?
No, this is like, okay, yeah. It needed a little bit of a, like I said,
persuasion,
smart power application. Yeah. But before you really fully rip this off, this side, make sure you disconnect this little This is like a power LED to indicate your PC is busy or doing stuff, and also.
So that one's still connected to.
Yeah, so it's still connected.
Point the connector. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that one.
So it's really small, so you might miss this quite easily. So don't just unplug this, and so like I said, this is being connected like this. So you just gotta apply a bit force and move it
gently,
away
like
from
wiggle
each other.
it as well. Indeed,
bit wiggle, and
it will come loose.
It will come loose.
There you go. Right.
So now it's really naked.
Yeah. It's like a naked frame.
Yeah.
Did something just fall there?
No, it was this little white thing.
A little washer.
All right, so this is the backside, and this might look familiar to you if you have hung on to the live stream for quite a bit now, because you have seen this before on the other ones. This is just a simple bracket to hold together the 2.5-inch SSD. So if you want to replace this, sure, go ahead. That's possible.
I spy with my little eye something that's, I think, an M.2, right?
Yeah, there's also M.2.
There you go.
And the M.2 you can also replace, just like we've shown you before, unscrew this part and take it off. Well, this black thing, it might look a bit weird if you miss this part. Again, this part is the thermal pad. So this black part cooling. Actually is being put against the side panel, which is like metal. Yeah. So it will act like a fan. Heatsink. Yeah. So unscrew the screw, and then I think you can leave it. Take it out, stick a new one in, screw it back in. That's it. And same for the one.
Basically, you have to just do the 4 screws first at the side. Then you can actually remove this bracket, basically.
And then just remove it, and then it will come off the connector. You might need it a bit force.
You still need to, there's like 4 screws, 1, 2, and on the other side as well, 3, 4. So then actually that also holds the SSD or
inside the bracket.
Exactly, inside the bracket. So that's basically what you need to do.
Well, so that's what you can do on the back side of it. Now, going more to the front side, which is more interesting for gaming, of course. Oh, I'm holding it upside down. Is how are we going to take out the GPU? So we already opened it up, and one important part here is that this little...
These screws.
Well, the screws which is holding in a little clipper.
Like a bracket.
Yeah, like a bracket. Mm-hmm. This is holding the GPU inside your case so it doesn't move much. Well, it doesn't move at all. So first, you gotta take this, unscrew it. And this will make your life a lot easier. See, it can actually move.
Yeah, there's also a little thing that holds it into place, obviously. Yeah. This locks the graphics card into place.
Leave this open. And again, make sure there is no latch in the PCIe slot where the video card sits, because if there is, you're going to make sure to press it. In this case, there isn't.
There's no latch, because these, as you can see here, let me just quickly show it. This little part here, that's part of the PCIe finger, basically. That's the where the latch connects. So because there's nothing at the end here, that just shows you that there's nothing holding it in place, at least not on the PCIe connector. Yep. So there's also nothing you need to release.
So I'm just making sure there isn't any screws. No. So then give it gentle wicks. Oh wait, there's no, there isn't.
Maybe I thought there was one more on this one. Maybe I would recommend to remove the power cable already, or not.
Well, it depends on if you have fat fingers, because if I push it back in, it's a little bit tight, but it's still doable. So yeah, you can remove this first too. Yeah. And then wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Exactly. Gently indeed. And then slowly you'll wiggle it out of the slot.
Yes. It's really making them optimize the use of the space.
Yep. Well, there's not much more space than this.
Gone with the 1060.
Yes.
And in with, where is it?
Here it is. Here it is.
Ah. It was so small I missed it. In with the 1660 Ti. Well, like we said, if you missed it, really make sure that the power consumption matches your system's power consumption. So if your system's PSU or the power adapter only allows, like in this case, 330 watt, you cannot go upgrade for a graphics card, which will in total use more than 360 or even close to 300, because not
the whole system. It needs to be powered by the power supply unit. So basically, every power supply, or sorry, every graphics card will have a recommended power supply number. So basically, that's NVIDIA, for example, or AMD. They will recommend, and it's usually higher than it really needs to be, but still, it's to be on the safe side. So they will tell you, for example, for this card, you might need, I don't know the exact number, but you might need, like, they might recommend a 450 watt power supply. That doesn't mean that on this system with a, did you say 330 watt?
Yeah.
That it doesn't work, but you know, it's a risk, so you can't be sure. We know that it'll work because we tested this, but it's always best to be sure and make sure you have more power than you need in your power supply.
And generally, when you're unsure, like nowadays online, there's so much information that you can find regarding a lot of the hardware.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I didn't pay attention. I missed the part because before you stick it in, you're supposed to put the power cable back in there. And all right, so let me just get a power cable in. And make sure you align it properly. Once you've done that, give it a little push, and that's it. And in this case, if you have like, in this case, like this side is like a 6-pin power cable, and if you need like an 8-pin, you can just like get an additional cable, which is like only this big, and then get a cable that's like 8-pin or 6-pin, in which case you need it.
Yeah, well, it's like, because on the motherboard it is 6-pin, so you will need a cable that goes 6-pin to 8-pin for the graphics card if you need that. So normally we would recommend just to get a graphics card which has the same pin output that the graphics card has that's already in there, because then you won't have to spend time to look for a custom part just to make it fit.
Yep. And even this small kind of gaming desktop, we still installed like a different chamber which is being divided by a divider. So the GPU, here's GPU, can still have its own heat dispersion chamber compared to the CPU too. And in this case, well, we don't have a power supply, so there is no chamber for the power supply.
Exactly.
So yeah. All right, now you have properly installed the new GPU. Now just make sure to refresh your steps. So this little door hinge thing, you have to push it back in again, because this will hold your graphics card in place so that it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Luckily, I still have the screws here. Just screw the screws back in. And as you can see, it's not that scary to upgrade your gaming desktop, even though it's so small that you might not imagine, okay, how the hell am I supposed to upgrade all the components in such a small gaming desktop?
Well, just need to know how.
That's how.
That's exactly.
And that's why what we meant with when we said, well, even though we have small gaming desktops, we always encourage you guys to try it out. And we always make sure where possible, we have made your upgrading process as easy as possible, so you don't just end up with the desktops for years and you want to upgrade, you can't. Yeah. So here you have the flexibility. Now this is now back in place. And
so, yeah, there's a couple of washers there.
Yeah, it's normal. So the backplate that we took off just before this, we need to put this back in. Now properly align which side is which side, because it will make sense if you look at it, because here's the GPU, and if you look at the other one, there's actually a mesh hole for the GPU. So you know this is definitely for this side, and the other one is for the other side. So, all right. And remember when we put this off, we took this little cable off the motherboard, the indication lighting. So now we just have to push it back in,
reattach it
right there, and gently let it fall into its place. So you don't have to force anything. Just wiggle a bit around and click. That's it. First, the screws that you've taken off before, put them back in.
Right?
Yeah. So one on each side. This side, there's one, and the other side. So yes, you might think this is a little bit more complicated than the other ones, but once you know how to do it, it's still easy. So you've now reattached the side panel. Now, don't forget what I mentioned before, which was a real pain in the ass, which is the screw that goes right through the motherboard. This one is really important. So put it back in there. Oh, I haven't aligned it properly. All right.
See, we have a question about what happens if someone is not here when picked. Actually, you don't need to respond. You don't have to claim your prize when we mention or say who's the winner, because they already participated through the link. So basically, what happens is we will just send the prize or the code or whatever we're giving away to the email address that they provided.
So this is what I meant with before when you might not have known what this is for. This is for the GPU so you can breathe.
Yeah. So I can take the fresh air with the fan and then make sure it gets cooled.
This one you just have to align the little hinges or clips here with the holes right here. So this is really easy. Just put it gently in place, let it fall into its place. You don't have to apply pressure or anything. Just let it fall and then slide it up.
And if it doesn't work, just like now, just need to calmly look.
Yeah, you have to look, okay, maybe somewhere wasn't properly aligned yet. Because I didn't give it much power, just give it a little push and it's back in its place. And now we have a few screws left that we have to screw back in, because here we took like 5 screws off. This is to reattach the side panels. Uno.
People are asking about the winners and the streams. Basically, we are streaming on, I think, 5 or 6 platforms at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard for us to reply directly on any of the platforms. So we're streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on Mixer, and on, I believe, 3 or 4 different pages of Twitter, or basically Periscope, that is. So yeah, we and all the chats basically are combined into one window, or at least if everything works correctly, and that's what we're looking at. So the feed goes rather quickly. So that's also sometimes why we can't answer all the questions. Obviously, there's a lot of people watching, a lot of people making comments or asking questions.
I guess Rash has been around in the chat for quite some time today. He even remembers the second winner. So let me count. Did I apply everything?
I see there's 1 screw still on the table, so I would think not.
Smart thinking, Peter.
I think here, right? Isn't it this one?
No, it's this one.
Oh, actually, okay, yeah. That looked like a screw hole that wasn't being used.
Maybe it was intended, but then they were like, nah.
Yeah.
Screw that.
Screw that.
All right, now, of course, don't forget the upper clip. Like I said, again, you have to find the right alignment and place, and then just give it a gentle little push.
And then it just clicks into place.
Yeah, you can hear the click, and that's when you're being very satisfied by the sound.
And then you know it's put into place.
And voila, like nothing happened.
We have an upgraded Trident 3.
Your Trident 3 is now future-proof.
Upgraded. Exactly.
And there you have it.
All right, so 3 down, 1 to go.
We still have 1 more?
Yeah.
Jesus, Peter.
I know. You wanted to do gameplay even after this?
Yeah, that was the fun part.
Are we sleeping here? Are we pulling an all-nighter?
Next time we should just skip all this upgrading part, just go to the gameplay right away.
All right, let's see.
All right,
people are very surprised about how many platforms we're actually streaming on. So yeah, how do we do that? Well, there's multiple streaming services that basically you can stream to, like Restream, and it will then disperse it to the different platforms like that. And then Restream also has one of the services that are actually combines a lot of the chats into one. So that actually is what we are using. Floki 1337, or basically Leap, obviously. Yes, I am Dutch.
Well,
Shall we do another winner?
Oh, Peter is on fire with the giveaways. All right.
Why not? Yeah. Because I'm afraid that, you know, in the end of the stream we might forget, and I want to make sure that we make a lot of people happy.
And this might be the last one we have.
Oh, is this actually the last one? All right, so guys, this is the giveaway, the last one. So you can still participate. msi.com/2/insider. Go there quickly.
Yeah, we'll give you a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat as well. Just give me a minute.
So if the link right there doesn't work, go to the chat. You have the direct link to the giveaway. Perform a few actions there. The more you do, the more chance you will have at Wolfenstein, the game code.
Yes.
So good luck with that. And well, if you're planning on upgrading, if you just joined, we actually have a bundle with Nvidia right now. And like Peter said, you're gonna make sure your retailer is actually is participating in the giveaway, the bundle. So when you're upgrading to a RTX 20 series graphics card, or desktop with one in it, or laptop with one in it, you can have 2 free games, Control and Wolfenstein.
Yes.
So that's just for free.
All
right. So I hope you guys did all the... Is there something else? Yeah, I hope you guys performed the actions, and you can be
still win.
Sitting in suspense.
Exactly. All right, so then let's wait with the last winner until we finish this one, right? Let's do that.
So what do we have here? Here we have the Infinite S. The S can stand for speed. I mean, it is fast, but the S in this case is for small, because it's such a small form factor desktop. You can just grab it and
easy to take with you.
Yeah, LAN parties, friends' houses, whatever you want, or moving houses.
Even if you want to put it into your living room, for example, it's actually quite a small form factor. So it doesn't, you know, it's not like a big behemoth PC that you don't want people to see.
And what you might have noticed from the Trident 3 was that it didn't have its own power supply. Well, this one has.
Actually does.
Yeah, so in this small little package, you can fit in up to a 2060, RTX 2060, and a i7. So, and this one is
still
an
plenty
i5.
Of power.
i5 with 9400.
Right.
So you still have plenty of gaming power. Now, how to upgrade this one? So,
Should we go to the close-up view again?
Oh yeah, we love it.
There we go.
So the backside. Well, you obviously need to take off the cover, and this is actually one part. The entire black cover is actually one part.
The whole side, basically.
Yeah. And just 2 screws holding it in place, which is this one and this one. So take these 2 out of there.
Merrick, which is lighter, this or the previous one? The Trident 3 is actually, well, I don't want to say a lot. It felt a lot lighter.
Yeah, but it is quite a lighter by like 3 kilos, I believe, because that one was like 3 or 4 kilos.
Yeah. But you have to account for the power supply that is actually included in this system.
Yeah.
And it's actually a separate brick, a power brick in the Trident 3. So anyway, this one is heavier, but that's because the power supply is actually in there. So
after you've done this, you have to push it backward, push it backward. After you have pushing it backward, you can just tilt it. And you do have to like open it up a bit, because
gently, but don't bend it.
Don't bend it.
Exactly. No need for, like, you know, test of strength.
So we have taken off its jacket.
Exactly.
Now you have
it's feeling a bit exposed.
Access to every side. So yeah. So once again, you know, when we said that we are trying to make upgrading really easy, and we encourage you guys, it's like, for example, just this, like, very simple example. We could have made this like into 2 separate parts, but the engineers, designers, they decided it's easier to just make it one giant cover. Yeah. So once you take that off with 2 screws only, you actually spare like one whole step. So then you have access to like the back part of the motherboard. Here, once again, you have the M.2 that you can upgrade. Yeah. You can even put in an extra UDIMM RAM. This one is totally free that you can just upgrade. And if we turn it around, we actually have, like Peter already said at the beginning of the stream, is that, you know, we have, in this case, put together a setup that we want to show you how to upgrade. So this is actually like a 1660. This will not come, especially the Gaming X version, will not come with your Infinite S.
No.
But we put this in here in order to upgrade to something that we think is much more beneficial for you and show you how to.
But also, this model I think is all quite new, so you know it's not like not 2, 3, 4 years old.
This is like the maxed out version of the 9th generation Infinite S.
Yes.
So it will come with like a 2060. So now we're trying to show you, if you don't have that SKU or that unit, you have like a lower end unit and you want to upgrade it, this is how you can do it.
Yeah.
So here we have the GPU, and another very, well, this is not a regular size power supply, because you can see it's really thin. It's not high at all.
No, it's quite, So this is a, there are names for this, but I keep forgetting what it is.
I actually don't know how this one is called specifically. No.
But there are like special names for this, as in, you know, this is also a form factor, I believe, that does have a name like a standard, but maybe you guys, some of the guys in the chat, you guys know about this.
Yeah.
Like ATX, there is also like power supply standards.
Yeah. So that's this side. And if you look at the top part, here you have your, the other side.
Yeah.
HDD bracket with HDD in it. And you have space for one more.
Exactly.
And here you have space for one 2.5 inch SSD. So everything already being pre-screwed in, installed, so that when you install a new drive, you just have to put it here, shove it in, and that's it. And you're set. So you have to like unscrew this part. So yeah, let's just start with this part. If you want to install a new 2.5 inch SSD, unscrew this little screw, just one, and then you can move the bracket. So now you can take it out, put in an SSD, 2.5 inch. Remember, you got to know how big it is. Make sure you're aligning this part correctly with this part, so when you install it, you don't have to unscrew. In this case, yes, this is correct. Yeah, don't mind all the stickers right here. This is just like a dummy sample that we have laying around here to be used. And we don't have the screws laying around for this bracket because that's still in the box, let me be honest. So what it comes down to is, once again, you've got to align the holes on the side right here, and then you've got to screw.
It's pretty much the same on every type of bracket.
Exactly, like the ones we showed you previously. Yeah. And then once you have done that, just put it back like you took it out, align it, and then give it a little push. Oh, actually, wait. I see that this was the wrong drive that I took. Yeah, the other one is in use.
Yeah, I think you already put it in.
Yeah, these already be in the other one. I didn't. When I took this one, I didn't pay attention to the connector, because this is a whole different drive. It doesn't fit in here, unfortunately. Actually, it does.
Yeah, I think it should. You're looking at the extra pins on the side.
Yeah, I got confused a bit, because this is not a regular
this is a hard drive. This is not an SSD, actually.
Yeah, so just a 2.5 inch hard drive.
Yeah.
I just grabbed this from our colleagues, but still the same case as what I just explained to you. You got to line up the connectors right here, and if you have lined them up, you can just push it in like this.
Yeah. And then, you know, attach this screw and it will be fixed into place again.
Oh.
Whoops. Butterfingers.
That's the sad part. I don't even eat butter. It's so unhealthy.
I think Master Fox Gaming has is like typing with his forehead or something. I hope you're okay, dude.
Do we need to call the ambulance?
Yeah.
So yeah, now you have attached the 2.5 inch drive, and the same thing you can do for your 3.5 inch HDD. And well, M.2, you've already seen it. You know already how to do this part.
Again, well, this is just quickly. There's the screw you need to undo to unfasten it basically and be able to take it out. Maybe replace it with a different one. But yeah, this is the M.2, and this is obviously a thermal pad on the side. You can see. So pretty similar to what we saw on the other builds.
And once again, the main star is of course that you want to replace the GPU to get more gaming performances. So this one is actually pretty simple and actually a bit similar than what you just saw before this one, because here once again, just like the Trident 3, there's like a little hinge door
holding it in place,
holding the
screws.
GPU in its place. So loosen these two. And you can see that it can move. Oh wait, I forgot one screw. There's one more here.
I see Marek joined the stream a bit late because he's asking a question that we actually answered at the beginning of the stream, but I think it's good to repeat. So thank you for asking, Marek. When we upgrade a MSI desktop like what we are showing you right now, does that mean the warranty is void? No, it does not. However, there's always like a risk involved when you go into a PC, because if you do damage something yourself, that could influence your warranty, yes. So make sure that if you're doing this, you're comfortable with the insides of a PC, you know what you're doing, because yeah, if you do damage something, that might mean that it will affect your warranty.
Yep, and in this case, the PCIe slot does have a little hinge.
Yeah.
So again, like you have learned, always make sure to check this part first, and because this one is being placed upside down, you gotta, instead of push it downward, you gotta push it upwards, of course. So
release the latch.
And you can feel a bit of a tension releasing, and then just give it a gentle wiggle again, and it's loose. Take out the power cord, the cable.
There you go.
And you're ready to pull in a brand new 2060 RTX. Enjoy.
Again, make sure you have the right power connectors, because there's only, I think, only one 8-pin available. So either you can use it as in a 6-pin configuration or in an 8-pin. So make sure it's compatible.
Oh, actually, this one does have an extra one.
Oh, there we go.
But you still got to make sure, because this is such a compact one. It only has like 350 watt of power supply.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that whatever upgrade you're going to do is going to fit in your 350 watts of power supply.
Yes, in your power supply budget.
Yeah.
So to speak.
All right, we can align this up. So let me align the
GT. Welcome as a new subscriber. You say you're thinking about buying an MAG 321 CQR. How good is it? Did you feature that one in a stream recently?
Yeah, actually, there's a whole dedicated stream regarding that model and the model that's one size smaller.
So if you want to look for that, just look at the go to MSI Gaming on well, you're already on YouTube, but in our channel, look for the playlist of MSI Insiders. Yeah. And there you should be able to find. Do you know what that stream was called?
Yeah, the title that you should be looking for is I believe it was 1440p versus 1080p, or
was it 1440p is the new 1080p? Was it that one?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So as long as you see 1440p and 1080p, it's that stream.
So we actually did, or Ja did a dedicated stream which featured that model. So if you want to know more about it, that should be the stream for you to watch right after this one, obviously.
So you push the back in, you should hear the click, because the latch should go in automatically when you click it correctly. So now it's firmly in place, but you still, of course, have to reattach the little latch right here.
Yes.
So you got to line up the holes and hold it in place.
Wait, are you doing this correctly? Specifically this part? Should this not be like behind this?
Wait. Yeah, no, it's supposed to be like this.
Okay.
But
it looked like it needed to be like behind
you have
that.
You have to push it a bit.
Sorry, guys. I said that because it looked like this thing was straight, and it might have like had to go through this little hole, but it didn't. My bad. Never question Ja's knowledge on MSI desktops.
So as you can see, a few screws here, a few screws there, and you can replace your GPU very easily inside your Infinite S. And again, even though it's so small, it's still using a full-sized gaming or graphics card.
Yeah.
So if you want to upgrade this, make sure you have measured the entire space and measured what kind of wattage it's going to use, and that it fits in 350 PSU. So you can see, you know, there's still quite some space left for a bigger GPU. You just gotta make sure it fits.
But I think, you know, lengthwise, it's not indeed. You have a bit more space. However, if you, can you turn it this way, that we can show the side. There we go. Because as you can see on the side here, it should not protrude here, because that's when, if it does, you get into trouble because the sides won't fit.
That's a big no-go.
Yeah. So you need to make sure your GPU, it can be a bit longer, but it cannot be fatter or thicker, if you will. So make sure. Exactly. Make sure you stay within that confines of the case.
Did I put in the second screw too? Yeah. So the second one is also in there. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we've shown you this. We have shown you this side. We've shown you the upper side. Well, now it's time to close the cover back up.
Yep. Yeah, I'll put it behind you. Yeah. It was on the table and it was looking weird because it wasn't covering. Can you show the flex in the cover? Because somebody was saying it looks bent, but it did look bent because it wasn't covering the chassis.
Well, this is supposed to be like this because then it will have more force to keep it closed. Yeah. So that's why it's also a bit flexible, because it has to be for you to lift it up. This is supposed to be like this so that whenever it's being applied, you see, it's going to be very tightly in place.
Yeah, and like it squeezes it basically. So it hugs the sides.
While I was talking, I put it back in the wrong order.
Well, you know, details. Small detail.
Make sure you leave some room here while you put it back in, because you still have to push it in. So if you start here, it's not going to align anymore. So make sure there's space, and then just slowly
and make sure there's no fingers where the case is closing, because
I actually made this mistake today.
You can lose some skin if you're not careful.
So
Andy is asking, does power supply unit matter for overclocking? Yes, it does, because when overclocking, it means that you're going to use a hell of a lot more power. Specifically, you know, when the more you overclock, your power supply, your power usage, I have to say, will go up dramatically. It's like exponential. So, you know, make sure if you're going to do any kind of crazy overclocking, like general overclocking you can do with MSI Afterburner OC scanner on NVIDIA cards, for example, that should be fine. Though you will still need a little bit of a beefy power supply, that's fine. But if you're going to do crazy overclocking, you really need some serious power supply. I know some overclockers even use a dedicated power supply for a graphics card and a separate power supply for the CPU, for example, for the motherboard. So
the more you know.
Exactly.
The more you know.
So it really depends on what kind of overclocking you're talking about. But you know, just considering you, this doesn't look like it's closed properly.
Wait, I missed a part.
There you go. Woo, quick, open it back up. So yeah, it really depends on what kind of overclocking you're talking about. Considering you probably mean you know, basic overclocking, then just make sure your power supply is, I think, you know, what NVIDIA and AMD show as being the recommended power supply, that should be fine also within normal overclocking spec. Also on our website, for example, we copy the same recommendation on our website. So any graphics card you have and you want to overclock with it, just check the website of the manufacturer, like our website, for example. On the specs page, you should be able to find the recommended power supply. And if your power supply is within that spec, you should be fine.
Voila!
There you go. One upgraded Infinite S.
Yep, and now you have a 2060 sitting in there for you to enjoy.
Exactly. All right.
So yeah, like we said, you know, once you know what you're doing, it's really simple to just open your little gaming beast up and give it a little bit of a beefy upgrade.
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah.
4 systems, and we only took like 2.5 hours.
Oof. Well, really sorry, guys, because we wanted to show you the gameplay of Wolfenstein,
Exactly.
but I guess that's gonna be for next time. Maybe next
Yeah.
week if you're lucky.
Well, who
I'm not
knows?
sure.
But you know, we still have one winner. So
Yep. So I hope you
yeah.
guys participated in the giveaway,
Exactly.
because now you can try it out for yourself.
And let's see.
I must say, for those of you who know Wolfenstein, it's kind of different than the
We tried it,
original.
right?
The original Wolfenstein.
It's a little bit different. So it's a kind of hate it or love it thing. I've seen very, reviews of people who said it's really nice and who highlight really it has a lot of good things going for it as well. But it's very different. And I've seen a lot of people saying, they are probably the purists that really love the Wolfenstein series the way it always was, or most of the time at least.
It does feel different.
Yeah, and who don't like the changes they made. So it really depends. But overall, I think it's also not priced as a full game, right? Not
No.
a full
It's actually
AAA title.
quite.
So
It's like around €25.
yeah, $30 about ish. So yeah, it's pretty decent. And for that price, it's I think it's an enjoyable game. To be honest,
it was quite fun.
But I think it's more enjoyable if you play it with two people. It's meant for co-op play, right?
Yep.
You can really tell.
You can't even play on it. Well, you can, but then you have an AI sitting next to you.
Yeah.
And somebody can just quickly join your game if you allow them to. So it's always about duo play. Maybe that's also one of the charms of this game.
Yeah, could very well be. But anyway,
who's the winner?
Yeah, we have our last winner, and I think it's a he. His name is Sky Warrior.
You're the last winner of today.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So you also get a Wolfenstein Youngblood game code, and we'll send it to you as soon as possible. Have fun playing it. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's stream. We hope you had some good information on our systems about, if you're planning to upgrade it or even considering to buy one, that you kind of know, the possibilities of upgrading it in the future, and if so, how to do it. Yeah. So yeah, if you have any other specific questions, let us know. Maybe we can in following streams we can cover that. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Next week we'll be discussing, or at least I'll be telling you about 10 years of Afterburner.
It's a great little software.
It is, yeah, and it's been around for 10 years now, so that's also quite a long time. About the same time as our Lightning graphics cards, because it came out around the same time, right?
Yeah,
there first was a Lightning card that when there wasn't Afterburner, but that same year we released the Afterburner software, the first version, because we wanted people to have the capability to a lot more detailed control of their graphics cards and stuff like that. So, and we also made sure it's compatible with pretty much any graphics card. So it doesn't matter NVIDIA or AMD, and it also doesn't even have to be an MSI card.
Exactly. That's what I was really surprised about when I first came in contact with Afterburner.
Yeah. And it's completely free as well.
Yeah. So I think for those of you who want to have free performance gains on your graphics card, really
or even more
check
control,
out,
because it's not traditionally it's an overclocking software. But that's really not the only thing it can do, right? You
there's much more to it.
The OSD, so on-screen display, so you can really see during gaming, for example, on your screen, the vitals of your system. So if anything is bottlenecking your system, that's the way you can find out. We actually did a stream, I think, over a year ago, where we detailed how you can set up your OSD and how you can do that. So you can always look for that. But even, like custom fan profiles, if you think it's too loud or if you think it's getting too hot and you don't want to mash buttons all the time to or drag sliders around the whole day. Basically, you can just change or set a custom fan profile to have it the way you like it. So, there's a lot of things you can do with it. Yeah. Anyway, so that's next week. We're gonna be telling you a little bit more about that. Also, I'll show you again some of the basics of Afterburner and some of the functions that have been added later on. And we'll get into some details. So if you have any questions about Afterburner, always let us know, and I'll see if I can get those answered next week. Yeah. But for now, thank you for tuning in,
and
thank you for sticking with us through the crazy upgrading adventures.
Yes, and we didn't lose a single screw.
Not yet.
Nah.
Screw it.
Screw that shit. We're going home.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for your time, man.
I will see you later. Goodbye.
Peace out.